Okay, everybody, today is March 31st, 2023. And over the last 7 days, myself, my mom, and my Uncle Richard went to the 5 national parks in Utah. And I took 774 pictures, I think it is. I haven't looked at them yet, so I just thought what I'd do is I'd record this video and show the pictures and talk about them. And then that way, you can see what my vacation was all about, and I could remember it a year from now, maybe. I don't have to remember it. I can just watch the video. Okay, so first thing I wanted to do, let's see, is share the screen. Share screen. Share screen. Share. Okay. So now I'm sharing the screen. And the first thing I wanted to show, so we flew into Las Vegas, Nevada on Thursday. We left Pensacola Thursday, March 23rd at 6 p.m. We landed in Las Vegas, Nevada at 1:30 a.m. on Friday, March 24th. 24th. Then we drove, this is our route here. We drove from the airport down to Henderson, Nevada, because I didn't want to have anything to do with Las Vegas. So we went down to Henderson, Nevada, stayed the night. And then the next day, now the 5 national parks is Zion here, Bryce Canyon, which is up here somewhere. Then we've got Capitol Reef National Park, which I think is around here. And then you've got Arches National Park here, close to the Colorado border. And then over here is Canyonlands. So those are the 5 national parks. So what we did on Friday was we drove this route. It was 8.5 hours. And it was a 1-hour time zone change. We lost an hour. So that was a very tiring day. My allergies were going crazy. We didn't get much sleep because I didn't get to bed till after 3 a.m. Vegas time, which to me was 5 a.m. Alabama time. And the day before I got up at 5 a.m., I worked 6 hours and then I flew to Vegas. So Friday was a long day. But anyway, we did the most scenic route here. And we had great weather the whole time. We did have some snow flurries on Monday, maybe it was Wednesday. I don't remember, but nothing stuck to the ground. And then I know driving back, no, that was Monday or Sunday. That was Sunday night. And then driving back on Wednesday night, we got into some rain. But for all of our trip, for walking outside and everything, it was sunny or cloudy. No rain, no snow. Now, it was very cold. I don't think the high got above 50 degrees, except on the last 2 days. But why is it doing that? You know, all you have to do is click somewhere on the stupid computer, and it does weird things. Okay, so let's just try to get out of that somehow. Okay, so what? How does this close? I do not want to see this content. Ugh. All right, now I clicked on something. This is how computers are. You got so many things popping up. So anyway, this is our route. So we went from Henderson, Nevada. We drove through Zion. This was on Friday, March 24th. We drove through Zion National Park. We drove up through the scenic route here, Scenic Highway 12. And we got up to Capitol Reef National Park. We drove through that. Then we were on Highway 24. And then we took that up to Green River, Utah. So the first day we drove through 2 national parks. But we we drove through 2 and we got to Green River. So then that way, the next day we could go down to Arches. Yes, Arches. And then the day after that, go to Canyonland, which is there. And that both of those are close to that Moab, Utah. So that was the first day, Friday, March 24th. Okay. Now, I want to make sure this is still recording. Is it recording? It doesn't say. How am I knowing if it's recording? Okay, it's recording. Okay, I see that. Okay. All right. So now let's go through the pictures. Picture one. So this is Zion National Park. We drove through Zion. They've got one route that goes, I guess it's about 15 miles through the park through this huge tunnel. And then there's a scenic drive off to the side, which we did not take that day. We actually couldn't take it. It's so crowded that they don't let you drive on there anymore. They have a shuttle, and you have to get on the shuttle. So anyway, these are pictures on the regular driving on Highway 9 in Utah in Zion National Park that first day. So you can see there's snow up there. Zion is about 4,000 elevation. 4,000 feet elevation. You can see snow, you can see some clouds there. And it was cold, but no rain or snow that day. But you can see them on the higher mountains. Of course, they plowed all these highways, so we didn't have any snow that we had to worry about on the road. So just some pictures I took while I'm driving through the park. We didn't really stop. So you can see beautiful mountains. Zion is known for beautiful mountains, all that snow out there. Very scenic there. So just, I've got a whole bunch of pictures, like I said, 770 something. So I'm not going to talk a lot about, but there you can see some of the peaks, different peaks there in Zion. Beautiful snowy mountains. And again, I'm taking these from the car so you can see here the part of the windshield there. So these pictures aren't going to be perfect, but very pretty there. Going through Zion. So more pictures of Zion, the mountains there. You see there's an inn there. Actually, now I've said all of this was before we got to Zion. So that was in Springdale, Utah. That's just before you get into Zion. And now maybe we're in Zion, or we're pretty close here. Yes, that's definitely in Zion. One of the waterfalls there, you can see. A lot of snow this year, record snow, I think. And so the waterfalls were really good. You can see huge rocks. Another great picture. So I'm actually in Zion here, Zion National Park. Again, you can see one of the waterfalls. Look at all that snow and the clouds. It looked like it's going to snow maybe or rain, but we checked the forecast. Nothing in the forecast for that day. That area, actually, it was another reason we took the scenic route. If you take the highway, it's faster, but they projected snow in Cedar City and Richfield, Utah, which, because they're higher elevations. Richfield's about 6,000 feet. Cedar City, I think, is 5,200, maybe 5,700 feet. And they had snow there. A few inches of snow was projected on that Friday. But we took a more southern route, and it was more scenic, and it took longer, but no snow projected on that route, and it stayed fine. We didn't have any precipitation. But you can see the clouds there. We are definitely high up. Yeah, beautiful shot there. Some of the rocks there. You can see the different colors, different strata layers of the rock. Pretty neat. And I'm just snapping pictures as I drive, so I don't know what I get. But yeah, you can see a lot of snow there in Zion. But again, nothing on the road. You can see the road down here. It's fine. So, oh, the car disappeared. So yeah, beautiful shot there. I wanted to get that tree there. It's interesting how these little trees, they just grow out of the rock. Funny how that works. Yeah, a lot of snow on that one there. I forget what that one was called. Checkerboard Mesa. I want to say that's called Checkerboard Mesa. But you know, when it's snow covered, you don't see the different colors of the mountain. So yeah, I think that was after the tunnel. Yeah, I think so. We had to go through one of the largest tunnels. It's so large that they have breaks in the tunnel where they have sunlight come through and everything. I guess maybe that has to do with ventilation, not having all this carbon monoxide in the tunnel. Huge tunnel. So that was after the tunnel, I believe, the checkerboard mesa there. Yeah, again, I'm driving. I don't know what, I tried and didn't do good with those pictures. I'm just snapping shots. All right, looks like we're through the tunnel, and now we're out of Zion, probably on our way to Bryce Canyon at this point. And I just took pictures, that I thought looked good as we're going down the road here. So not as pretty as Zion, but certainly scenic. In Alabama, we don't have mountains. Let me rotate that. How do I rotate this? I don't know. It's up here somewhere, maybe. This bar is in the way. Edit image. Rotate. Here we go. Rotate. Yeah. So that's just something I saw along the way. Pretty rock. They said the red in the rocks are from iron. So a lot of iron in that iron-rich area. Look at that. Beautiful rock formation there. I think this is probably close to Bryce Canyon, would be my guess. We're out of Zion. We're probably close to Bryce here. I don't really know, but that's my guess. Isn't it interesting? You look at this. I mean, it looks like that rock would just fall off, but it's probably been like that since God created it, 6,000 years ago, or maybe after the flood. Who knows? But yeah, it's just a beautiful God's creation. These rocks here remind me of Monument Valley, which is northern Arizona. Look at that. These beautiful rocks. That almost looks like Grand Canyon there, sort of, but doesn't have all the color and the canyon area, but there's beautiful rocks here. Interesting, the shapes, Think about God as he just makes everything unique. Man, he makes a city. All cities pretty much look alike, but what God does, everything he makes is beautiful and it's unique. And I just can't wait till the curse of sin is lifted and we got the new earth. I mean, if it's beautiful now with the curse of sin, I just think of how beautiful it's going to be once the new Jerusalem comes down. All right, we must have got out and walked that day. That's my mom. You can see it's cold. She's got her toboggan on, her jacket. She's probably got about 3 layers. I really don't know where that was. But we got out, walked a little bit in these beautiful rock formations. I think I tried to get a picture of the sun coming in. I thought it'd be a neat picture, but it just made everything darker and you couldn't see the rock too good. But oh well. There's the sun. There's more of the sun. Now we're walking. Sometimes we did get out and do a little walking, even though that I knew I had to drive 8.5 hours and I lost an hour. We got a late start because we didn't get in until 3 in the morning. So it made for a long day. We didn't get to Green River, Utah and check into the hotel till I think about 9 p.m. But we did get out and walk some just because, we knew we'd be back to these parks, but it's like, well, how do you just see all this beauty and not want to walk out and look at it, get a better look? It's so much better when you can walk on the trails and look at things close up instead of driving by at 60 miles an hour. So we did a stop here. I want to say that this is probably Capitol Reef. No, I'm not. No, I doubt it is. I doubt we're that close. I took a picture of this to show that there's ice out there. So, you know what this is? You know what I think this is? I think all of this stuff, going back now, I bet you a lot of those pictures were Capitol Reef. I think now, since we're doing this walking, this must have been our first day. Yeah, I bet it all started. Yeah, here. I bet this was some of the pictures I took in Zion, and then after that, and then once we get to this spot here, this is Arches National Park. So after we got to Green River, Utah, we next day got up into Arches National Park. So that would have been Saturday, March 25th. It's so these national parks are so crowded nowadays. In order to get into Arches, you have to make a reservation up to 3 months in advance just to drive into the national park. Except that, and that starts, I think that's from April 1st to October 31st. And I didn't know any of this till a couple weeks before, which is a good thing that we were there when we were, because this was Saturday, March 25th, when we got to Arches. So if we'd have been a week later, we couldn't even drove into the park because we didn't have a reservation to drive into the park, and they don't have a shuttle there going through. So we're just lucky that I planned this just before the reservations are required, and so we were able to drive through. We drove through Moab, through Arches National Park on that Saturday, March 25th, and we spent we walked several different trails, and we walked about 9 miles that day. That was our longest walks. And so all these are Arches National Park. And that first trail was called Park Avenue. It was a 2-mile walk, but it was very rocky. So these are pictures we took from I believe from the trailhead. I think that right there is a sign about the trailhead. And then we get to, then we're going down, and then you can see a little more, up a little more. Yeah, this was going down now on the Park Avenue Trail in Arches. Yeah, I forgot I put all these into one folder so we could just go through all the pictures instead of having to go by day. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But anyway, here it is. So this is my mom going down the trail. There was a lot of uneven, rocky places, so she had a lot of trouble with this. She's real good at walking. I mean, she could walk, 4 miles in an hour, no problem. But when it comes to uneven surfaces and balancing, it's hard for her. So it was a hard trail. So we ended up walking the length of it, and then it ends up. So this was where the parking area was. People are up here, and we walked down. We went across, and then we went up to the other side and walked up to where the road was, and then we walked back to the car on the road. So then that way she didn't have to worry about uneven areas. So these are the views from the Park Avenue Trail in Arches National Park. And so, yeah, here's me trying to get the sun coming in. And so here we are on the trail. You can see how uneven it is. We were on the Park Avenue Trail in Arches. But just beautiful rock. And then I was trying to show that there was some ice on the trail. So that's a picture of that. We didn't have, here's some more ice down there. We did have some snow and ice in places, but we really didn't have an issue on trails except when we got to Bryce Canyon. So we did very little walking in Bryce Canyon. But yeah, you can see the ice, but you can just walk around these rocks, go around on the rocks. The ice in that area is more the shady area. Of course, it's sunny right there, but it's more shadier where the water accumulates, lower areas. So you can see how cold it is that you got that ice there. Beautiful picture there. Again, these formations remind me of Monument Valley in northern Arizona. I mean, you get to walk right up to them, you can touch them. My Uncle Rick, he was big on that, touching the rock. I got to touch it. Beautiful red, the black and they're brown and just different shades, colors there. And the rocks, they got different, cracks in here, probably from snow and ice melting and all that. So it just makes it beautiful. Lighting. The thing about these pictures is sometimes you get great lighting, sometimes you don't. And that one, you don't really have the good lighting. So this was walking at the bottom there, that Park Avenue Trail, I believe. That's a great shot there. The angle of the lighting was real good there. That's a good picture. good panoramic shot there of what we saw. I see here's my mom on the trail. You can see patch of ice or snow there, in these places here. But you just walk around them. There's my Uncle Rick, I believe, there. But they're both in the shade, so it's hard to see them. Yeah, it's just beautiful how these rocks are, huge rock. Oh, here's a hole, some more rock over there. Yeah, big, huge rocks. It's just wonderful seeing all that. Interesting, the balancing. Looks like this would fall off, or that would fall off, or that would fall off. Looks like it's just precariously up there, but probably been like that for hundreds of years. Look at that. And you can see where some of the snow is now melted and in this area. Arches National Park was about 4,000 feet elevation, just like Zion. So, and it's on the eastern part. Seems like a lot of the higher mountains are where Bryce Canyon is, which is sort of the western central part, and then also Capitol Reef area, which is east of there. And then there are also some big mountain range by Cedar City, which is on the western part of Utah. So it seems like a lot of those mountain ranges, when the storm comes through, because it'll go from west to east, it seems like all those big mountains suck up all the snow, so that by the time you get to the eastern part of Utah, which is where the Canyonlands and Arches National Park is, you don't have as much snow there. So that's why Zion, we saw that 4,000 feet elevation, and there was a lot of snow on those mountains, but yet here, same elevation, Arches, and you don't have the snow. And that's because Zion is on the western side before you get to the big mountain ranges, and Arches and Canyonland National Parks are on the eastern side of Utah. There's my Uncle Rick. Yay, he made it up. He got to touch the rock. You can see how big the rock is. You can't even see the top of it here. And yet here he is standing on the ground, and it's way up there. And this is probably one of the smaller rocks. And here you got an idea of the bigger rock, because here he is. He looks very small compared to this massive rock way up there. So what is he, 5'6" or so? Here, that's 5'6". So there's another 5'6". There's another 5'6". There's another 5 foot. You just keep going up, and I haven't even got to the top of the range there. Okay, next picture. Beautiful, beautiful picture. You can see now we hiked 2 miles on the Park Avenue Trail, and now we're back on the road, because you can see the road here. And we walked back a little bit off of the road just to get a better view, and you can see these rocks here off to the side here. So now we're walking back on the road. So again, here's the formations, but instead of being down in the valley, we're up here, and you can see from the road. So we're higher up now with these pictures. Nice shadows were there, went too good there. Wow, that's a good shot there. Yeah, it's shady. I guess, with the clouds coming in, there isn't as much sun, so that these pictures are a little darker here. But you can see here, we're just on the side of the road taking photos. People would pull off on little pullouts and, take pictures, but we're walking the thing. So this was about 4 miles of our 9 miles was walking in fact, it's probably more like 5 miles, walking the Park Avenue Trail, and then walking the road back. It was about 5 miles total. And that was still morning. So yeah, here we are still on the road. You can see there. Now, yeah, I'm still probably walking on the road, I'm guessing. Yeah, because there was those 3 rocks we saw before. So we've walked down the road quite a bit now. Oh, car disappeared. Yeah, just beautiful rock formations. We did actually see, and I might have a picture of it, we did actually see one person climbing up one of these rocks, doing a rock climbing thing with ropes and all that stuff. But, yeah, that's an adventure that is, I'm too scared of heights to do that, so that's not going to happen with me. That's a beautiful shot. You can see the sun And all these rocks here, beautiful picture there. Look at how, I mean, you would think this rock would fall off. I mean, it's just like it's just barely touching in this one spot, but nope, it doesn't. Look at those. It's almost like here's the bottom part here. It's like the cake, you know, here's the cake part. Here's the icing up here, icing on the cake. Yeah, God is just a beautiful artist. That's what he is. And that right there, see, that was these here, you got those. And then here you got a big, you know, back, you know, a good ways. A lot of times I zoomed in, and that one I just showed a, you know, zoomed out all the way to show what that looked like to the eye. Yeah, just had to get close-ups of these. Look at that little hole in the rock there. So we're probably on a different trail now. I don't remember all the trails we went on. I probably got the papers here. Let me see. Maybe I can find the papers. I know I have them here. I don't know. I still haven't unpacked everything. What have I got here? No, that's not it. Oh, I know where they are. Hold on. I'm gonna get the papers. Okay. Before we went, I did some research and figured out what trails seemed to be the best to take. So, and I wrote these down. And hopefully I can find the piece of paper. I got all these hotel reservations. That's another thing when you go to 5 national parks, is you got all these different hotel reservations. So I don't know where those papers are. It don't matter. Anyway, we're in Arches, is where we are. Arches National Park. And it reminds me of Monument Valley. Wow, look at that one. Let's rotate that one. Look at that. This huge rock. You know, it's almost like a balancing act. This huge rock just sitting there. So we're on a different trail now. You see, this is a good trail here. The first on that Park Avenue was rocky and it's tough. This is actually paved here. I think this was called Balanced Rock. I think it was just maybe a half mile, maybe a quarter mile out to the Balanced Rock and then a quarter mile back. Yeah, so maybe I can remember this stuff. And so here we are. We walked up to it. And right there at it now, or getting close to it, I should say. You see people here. A lot of people going to these national parks. It was spring break for people, including for myself, so that's probably why more people. But here's just a different view of the Balanced Rock. I actually get to walk up here to it. And yeah, there's a close-up there. Look at that. It's just this huge rock, and it's like God says, okay, here, I'm going to put this rock here. Then I'm going to put me a little paste here and glue this one on here. You know, that's what it looks like. Of course, this isn't glue. This is rock. But, I mean, that's just what it looks like, the different color. You know, God had fun with this when he made it. That's for sure. That picture did not come out too good. Oh, that was a good photo. That's why I take a lot of pictures, because the shading may not be good. But, yeah, that one came out real good. So that's walking up to it then, Balanced Rock in Arches National Park. This is a different rock. It was scenic, so I took the picture. Yeah, see, my uncle likes to touch the rocks. So here he is touching this rock here. And that's probably Balanced Rock, or right close to it. I think that probably is him touching Balanced Rock, because we both could actually walk up to it. That's beautiful in the back. You can see these rocks here, the colors there, and you can see the snow on these mountains back here too. So that's a real good shot. You got him, the close-up, and then the background with 2 different layers here. The beautiful rock formations here, and then the snow-capped mountains over there. So that's good. Yeah, the lighting's a little darker, so now you can see the snow on these mountains better too. Not fully covered because we're lower, you know, elevation, 4,000 feet here. So who knows what that is? 6,000, maybe 7,000. I don't know. Yay, this one again, the Balanced Rock. but I think it was from a different angle here because you see this other rock here. Yeah, again, balanced rock. And then some, I think we took this one, sort of looks like a hand, you know, finger, 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 maybe, or maybe that's the thumb. Maybe that's the thumb, and that's the pinky. I don't know. Anyway, it's a neat little formation there. There's my mom touching a rock. I don't think she walked up the balanced rock because it was a lot of uneven surfaces, but this one apparently she was able to touch. So there's my mom touching that rock there. And again, touching the rock. And now backed up a little bit. So you can see we probably, it's pretty level here, and then she just walked up on the dirt. You know, dirt's fine, but when you get uneven rocks, you know, with the slanted rocks, they can be slippery. It's hard to keep your balance. You can fall real easily. And it's not like falling into dirt or snow or anything. I mean, you fall, hit the rock. I mean, you could seriously hurt yourself. So that's why she didn't want those. And who could blame her for that? You know. And here you can see some rocks in the background. So that's a real neat shot there. Again, I think I was trying to show the background as well there. Okay, this is yet another shot of balanced rock, probably, but just a different angle. Here we're real close up to that formation. Again, balanced rock right there. I believe that's what it is. And that's that formation, sort of look like a hand, I think. There. Oh yeah, here, see, I walked up the balanced rock and it was uneven. See these rocks. I mean, you don't want to be walking on this stuff here. So, you know, I did it, but it been too much of a risk of falling for my mom. So she stayed back here. So I got a picture of her and she's looking at the rocks there. I mean, you got beautiful sights all around. So even if you can't walk up to it, well, look at the other stuff, you know, it's beautiful just standing there looking at it. Yeah, I got a close up of her there. Yeah, just another rock formation there. Maybe sort of looks like a face, maybe eyes there, forehead, eyes, nose, mustache, maybe a mouth. I don't know. Chin. Maybe I'm grasping at straws here, but sort of looks like a head of a person. I was trying to show the snow. You know, we saw that in the background before, so now you can see it up close, the snow on those mountains there. And look at these. Now this one, we're going to get to this later. These are another trail that we went on. There were arches. And so that's an arch there. I think that's called Turret Arch. And then there's going to be a couple of other things we'll see. So that's another trail that we're about to go on here. Oops. Took a real close-up one of that one. And maybe a face there. Eyes, nose, mouth, forehead. You can see that. Here's the one. This is the one person we saw on the whole trip that was climbing up a rock. I was trying to show, I mean, they were off the ground pretty good. There's somebody at the bottom helping them, and I didn't even get them. So they're farther down there. And they're just using ropes and everything to climb up this crack. I guess they're going to climb up the crack all the way and get up to the top. Of course, that takes a long time, you know, to do that. But here's one that looked like a hand, maybe a thumb and 4 fingers. So that was interesting. Okay, here is the, so we went on a different trail here now. It's still in Arches National Park, still on Saturday, March 24th. And I think they call one of them was a north arch, and then there was a south arch, and then there was a turret arch, I think is how it was. So this was the north one, I think it is. Because that one you could actually walk up to, I think. I could be wrong. Maybe that's Turret Arch. No, I think, no, that's the north one. You could see, you know, it's not easy to walk. You walk up here. I think my mom did walk up here, and then my uncle and I tried to get up here. I think we did make it up to that one. I think that was the north arch. Yeah, look at that huge thing there, and then this tiny hole here. Yeah, here's another one. I think this might be Turret Arch, taken from the north arch. So the north and south arch are sort of together in a row, and then across the way was Turret Arch, and you could take the trail. So if you wanted to go from to North or South Arch, you went to the left. If you wanted Turret Arch, you went to the right. And we ended up walking to all three. I think my mom couldn't walk to, right at the arch for all three just because of the, I didn't get these unbalanced, uneven rocks, but she did walk close to all three so she could see them. So yeah, there's a arch there. Okay, I think this is the North Arch. I'm getting close to it now. That's probably Rick. He wore a Humboldt hoodie. I think that's what that is. So that's my Uncle Rick there. And my mom's sort of off the back, because she couldn't walk up here. And we're trying to get up to that North Arch there. He made it to that point. I don't know what point that is, but he made it. That's a beautiful thing there. Interesting. You got this hole here, and then you got the rock down beneath. Beautiful rock formations. I'm trying to take it up like a vertical shot when I'm standing right at the rock and look up. So that's what that is. Okay, this may be the south. I think that's the Turret Arch. So from the North Arch, I'm looking over to the Turret Arch, so you can see that there. But of course, the other formations are beautiful too. There's the arch. There's a circle thing, and lots of good sights here. And this is actually at the arch, so I did make it. Thing is, when you get so close to it, you can't take a picture of the whole arch because it's so big and you're right there at it. So here I am at North Arch, and the Turret Arch I actually got to. The south one, you could not walk up to it. I did see somebody up there, and I really tried to get up there, and I got pretty close. You'll see it later. But yeah, I think this is the North Arch, just beautiful shot there. And then I think this one, is a South Arch, and I tried to get to that one. So here I am trying to get to that one. That's a Turret Arch. It's a little out of focus. I think that's a South Arch, and I'm trying to get to it. And that's about as close as I got, I believe. And it took some doing to get there. That wasn't easy. So I just sort of zoomed in on it. Well, I could there. Yeah, that was about the closest I got right there, I think. Some rock formations that you could see from that South Arch. Another picture of the South Arch. And then this was, I tried all different angles, went past it, tried to get to it. So here I think I went past it and couldn't get up there. There's another beautiful rock formation. There I just zoomed in and you can see the top part of the arch. I think this is Turret Arch now, I want to say, because this one I did get up to. My uncle and I both got up to that one. I want to say I'm standing at Turret Arch here, and I'm looking over at the South Arch over there. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. See, these people are walking on the trail to Turret Arch, and you got to get through some rocks and stuff to get up there. And you see somebody did make it to that South Arch, but or maybe that's the North Arch. I don't know. Anyway, you could get up there, but the south one, it was just too tricky. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. See, here, I'm at the Turret Arch, and this is the North Arch up here, which you could walk to. And this is the South Arch, which I got pretty close, but I couldn't quite get up there. The rocks right by it are just too steep, and I'm standing at Turret Arch here, so you can see both of these arches here. So that's pretty neat, seeing both of them in one shot there. And now this is Turret Arch. So after you walk up there, I don't know if that's my uncle. No, it's not. It was, I'd walked through Turret Arch and came back the other side, and he had these steps down. So that's leaving it. Yeah, and then another picture of the North Arch and the South Arch there. Okay, next picture. This is Delicate Arch. Okay, so then the next trail we went on, and this was the hardest trail in Arches, was Delicate Arch. It was a 3-mile round trip hike, and it was a lot of climbing. I think so it's a 1.5 miles to that, and it was maybe 600 feet elevation gain. It was a pretty good climb up there. But Delicate Arch, what I'm doing here is this is taken from not even on the trail yet. But Delicate Arch is the most famous arch because it's on the Utah license plate. And I'll get better shots of it later. But that's taken way away, and I'm zooming in. Okay, here. Now this is on the trail. So I got up to the top, walked 1.5 miles. And it's a little tricky. Once you climb up this hill, now you're on this side here. Now you can finally see it. So this is the Delicate Arch that is on the Utah license plate. And this rock here is pretty steep. So I'd end up walking over here. That's why you see all these people over here. What they're doing is they're lining up to get their picture made under the arch. And my uncle and I did that. We got our pictures, and I don't know if it's on this roll or what. But anyway, so it's kind of steep. So what you do is you walk over here to the side, because over here, this gets pretty steep. And it gets kind of scary because you got some big drop-offs over here. And there's a big drop-off over here, too. You can see it's not level here underneath this arch. But it is kind of wide there. So there is a good spot to stand. But you can't walk too far past that because you'll be down in this valley down here. So, it's kind of steep. You just got to be careful what you're doing. So we just sort of walk on this edge over here because this here is real steep down here. It's kind of hard to see on a two-dimensional photo, but take my word for it. When you get down to about here, it's steep. That's why all these people are up here, and there are only a couple people brave enough to try that right there. So anyway, I got over here. I just got up the hill at this point, but I ended up getting over here, getting in the line and get my picture under here. But that's Delicate Arch. And you can see the view is great with all the other rock formations around too. So there, I zoomed in. You can see people would take one at a time. This sort of looks dangerous over here, but it's not, because like I say, it is wide, and it's just the angle. When you're actually up there, you can see it's wide. And when I say wide, I'm talking, it might be 8 feet wide, where it's a good level part. Of course, if you go past that 8 feet, then you're down in the valley. So, but you're not really in danger of falling. So you just get to that first part of there where it's level, stand there, and you're fine. It may even be 10 feet across. So I'm scared of heights, and I was okay with that part. The hard part was walking around and getting over there. But anyway, I haven't got to that yet. So we'll get pictures of that later. So yeah, here I am. You see, I'm walking over the side, and people are standing. Here, people would it's kind of steep here, but they get over here to take pictures of people. So you line up over here, and then people would take pictures from here as one. So he's over there walking, and then he'll get his picture, then the next person. Sort of an informal line thing. Okay, what did I do here? Let me turn it around. Okay, I'm at the side of it now. So this is a side view of Delicate Arch. If I had a portrait, then you couldn't see the whole thing. So I did a side view of Delicate Arch. Okay, now I'm actually there is, okay, this is, I'm standing over here. That's my Uncle Rick right there. So Rick made it to that level part there, and I'm standing over here taking a photo of him. But you can't see him too good because I want to be able to see the arch, and I still don't have all the arch in this photo. If I zoom in on him, well, then all you'll see is him, and you'll see this background. So you gotta have it zoomed out, be able to see the arch. So that's my Uncle Rick, and that's the arch there. I think. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so again, standing underneath the arch. And another picture of him standing underneath the arch. Pictures of me might be in his camera. But so I think then after I got his 3 pictures of him in the arch, then I got back farther and got a real good head-on shot, because I'd already braved to get down to this, because this is kind of, it's not level here. And so I braved it to get down there to take a picture of him. So now I thought, well, now I'll get back, and now I'll get a good straight shot of this arch. So these people, I don't know who these people are. They're not important. There you can see how steep it is. That's what I was trying to show there. These people, I have no idea who they are. But you could see, I mean, this is kind of steep. You get down here, go down the side. Or if you're over here, people are up here. off this hill, but then you go down here and fall right down there, you know. So it's steep. Maybe you can see again. So you're up on here. See how steep this is? So I'm just sort of, you know, you walk up here, sort of on the level part here around. We came up the hill here. So you first come to the height and you come up here on this hill. And then you get up here and just sort of hug this side over here because you don't want to fall down there. And then when you get over there, you stand over here in the line. And then you get brave enough and you stand right about here where these people are, so you can take the picture. And then you get right back up. But I think I was like right here when I took the head-on shot. And when I took my uncle, I'm probably about here or so. And I took his picture. Oh, this is a good shot here. Yeah. So that's over on that side there. I think I was up on the hill at the top, but I zoomed in. So that, yeah, that's a real good angle of that delicate arch. That's a good, really good shot there. That might be my best shot. Here's another one. You know, all about pictures, it's all about angles and lighting. So here I am zooming in. Delicate arch. That's the Utah license plate. Of course, without the people, but it was hard to get. I think the reason I took those is I finally got to where no one was standing underneath it. That was hard. There's a lot of people up there, and of course they're all there by the arch to get their picture taken. So it was hard to get it where no one was standing around. So I got a couple shots of it without these people so much. These are, I took a picture of this because when you're on these trails, if you're just walking on rock, you know, if you're walking on sand, you can see the sand, the shape and everything of it. But if you're on rock, it's not like you can make a trail. So what people do is, I forget what these are called, but what they'll do is they'll stack a few rocks up and they'll just do one pile. So you see this here, you say, oh, okay, well, then I know I'm on the trail. So you follow these rock piles where they'll stack up rocks, and that's to show you, go from one pile to the next and you stay on the trail. You don't get lost, go off. Well, for whatever reason, people decided they were just going to make a whole bunch of these rock piles. And I'd never seen anybody do that. Usually you just see one or two, you know, say you're on the trail. Everybody wanted to make rock piles. So I took a picture of all of these. That was a lot of rock piles to show you're really, really, really on the trail. Okay, so walking back from Delicate Arch, some good rock formations there. This is pretty neat. You know, you got walking between the rocks. There's my Uncle Rick there. My mom did not go on this trail due to the uneven rocks. So she was, in fact, she stayed in the car. We'd already walked, but before we even got on this trail, her included, had walked about 6 miles, maybe longer. So we had, this was, you know, she'd got her walk in for the day. So she just stayed in the car for that. Okay, so now we must be on a different trail because here she is walking. We took another trail, the last trail of the day. I think it was called Landscape Arch. We were walking out to that. That was a real beautiful trail. But there were a couple of arches before the Landscape Arch that we saw. But here we are real close to these rocks. So, yeah, real scenic, still in arches, still walking on the trail here. So you can see it's, this was not uneven, slanted rocks. So my mom was able to make it. That's her. And then my Uncle Rick there on the trail. Oh yeah, this was real neat. We walked on the side of this rock here. And when you get to the end of that, you can see there's this other rock and you can walk up in between the two rocks. So I got a picture of this rock and that rock. This is sand and this is snow. I guess because when you're right on the sides there, it really doesn't get, it's really shaded. There's very little sun that gets in here. And then of course the snow, just when it snows, it's going to fall down. So that's why you got snow lining both of those. You can see little flurries here that it landed. But yeah, that's between those two big rocks, and we walk in between those. So you can see here I am at the very end. So there's first picture of me that you've seen. How about that? I bring my little belt bag. I put my camera in there. Usually I have a water bottle. I think it's on that side. You can't see it, and all the other stuff you bring. So there we were at the very end of those two rocks, and I could have one hand on one and one hand on the other. So that's where those two rocks come to an end. So see here, right here, that's a rock, and I was standing up here between those two rocks. So that's where that picture is there. So there I am. Look fast, there aren't too many pictures of me because I'm the cameraman. At least in this role, I'm the cameraman. Again, another shot of me between those two rocks. And I got my mom there. That's a really good shot of her there between the two rocks. Yeah. You can touch both of them. Those are big rocks. Hey, she's smiling in that one. That's even better. I like her smiling. Hard to get her not smiling. She's a very happy person. Back a little farther so you can see there. Okay, so we're walking on the trail over to Landscape Arch here. Again, that's another shot of that same, of those two rocks there. Just interesting, pretty rock formations. There you can see better the sand and the snow between those two rocks. Sort of looks like a face, eyes, teeth, maybe buck teeth. Now, so take a picture of that. All right, this was, I forget the name of this, but this was over to Landscape Arch. There were two other arches. There was a pine tree arch, and there was one before that. And this is the one before it. Can't tell you the name of it. Can't remember it. But anyway, that's a real good shot because you got the sun. The sun's about setting that time of day, and the sun's coming in, so it's lighting it. And you got that light in the background, and you can see through there for that arch there. So that's a good photo there. Oh, that's even, see the sun even better there. Ray, that's neat, ray of the sun. So that's that one arch that I can't remember the name of. This one, this is the pine tree arch, I believe. That's a different arch. You could actually, that first one you saw, we did not walk up to it. It was up on the hill. But pine tree arch, we could walk under. Even my mom did that. It wasn't uneven rocks. It was maybe a little tricky, but she handled it. So that's pine tree arch. So there, you were actually underneath it, so I can see going up there. And there's my Uncle Rick. He's on the side of a rock somewhere, leaning against the rock. And that didn't come out too good. It's kind of dark. This is at the pine tree arch. And what I did was I angled the camera. I put the camera underneath. So this is straight looking up. So I have the camera beneath me. And this is the arch itself. This is the pine tree arch behind me. Well, it's actually, in the photo, it's behind me. But in reality, it's above me. It's like the ceiling. And so the camera is looking straight up into the air. And I put my face over the camera, and then above me, you can see the arch. So that's what I did there. Actually came out pretty good. Yeah, there it is again. Another shot. Me and the arch above me. It looks like it's to the side, but it's really above me because this is looking straight up, completely vertical shot. Oh, I think I skipped something. Yeah, I did. Okay, there's my mom in an interesting rock formation. We're getting toward the end of the day in arches, so we're almost done with arches here. And this was me at another rock formation, another arch photo there. That's looking through the pine tree arch. I thought that tree was neat. Actually, I take that back. That's a different, we've already left pine tree arch. That's a different photo I got. I thought it was neat to try to get the branches and then the rocks in the background. I try different things with the camera. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Beautiful rocks there in Arches, Arches National Park. All right, this is the next day. This is Sunday, March 25th. And we are now in Canyonlands National Park. I think of that board game Candyland, but that's Canyonlands, all one word, Canyonlands National Park. If you're in Moab, Utah, Arches is right there, and then Canyonlands is another 15, 20 miles west of there. There is also another part. This is called the Island in the Sky. The Canyonlands is divided into two sections. We went to Island in the Skies. There's another section called Needles, which is southern, and you got to go about like another 120 miles south of the Island in the Sky Park to get to Needles. And Needles is mostly for ATV vehicles. They don't have a lot of paved roads, and they don't have many trails. So for sake of time, we spent all day Sunday, March 25th, 2023 in Island in the Sky. They had a lot more trails, and I think it's more scenic too. And that's probably why they've got more roads. The Needles part is for the ATV people. We saw a lot of ATVs and ATV rentals in Moab, Utah. So I think they were going down to Needles and knocking themselves out there. All right, so this is an arch or a bridge. I don't know what they call it. I don't know what the difference is. Sometimes they call it a bridge. Sometimes they call it an arch. But this is in Canyonlands. We both walked. My mom didn't get right up to underneath it, but you could. We got underneath it, and she got pretty close. This is walking up to it, and but yeah, she got pretty close actually. And you could, they say it's illegal to do so, but you could walk up here. It's good level, and you could walk up there. And the reason it's illegal is if you walk over there, you're dead. It's a huge drop off, but you could walk up here, and we walked up to the side of it, and it was pretty neat. And you can see all the canyons in the background. This to me looks a lot like the Grand Canyon. And I think personally, going here is better than going to the Grand Canyon because number one, it's less crowded. And number two, it's right next door to Arches. So you got all the beauty of Arches. And then the next day you go over here to Canyonlands and it looks like the Grand Canyon. Maybe not quite as good, but pretty close. And there aren't nearly the number of people here. So this is by far a better destination. Go to Moab, Utah, stay there, and go to Arches and Canyonlands. We stayed in Green River, Utah, which is about 45 minutes from Arches and Canyonlands because it was way cheaper. Hotels in Moab at that time were like $150 a night and up. And we stayed over in Green River for about $69 a night. It was less than half. So we stayed 3 nights in Green River, Utah, and just drove back and forth. And we saved like 70, 80 bucks a night for 3 nights. So per room. My mom and I had our room and my uncle had his room. So a lot cheaper there and not too far away. Anyway, Canyonlands. This is where this is. And it's that arch. I think the name of that arch is Moab Arch. I want to call it Moab Arch. So beautiful shots there. We're not to the really good part of the canyon that looks like Grand Canyon yet. Here's a good part. Now we're at a different place. Just trying to show the different layers of the rocks there. Okay, no, we're not at a different place. This is a Moab Arch. I think that's Rick. No, he doesn't have the Humboldt on. I don't know who that is. Some random person. So we're actually, you could walk underneath the arch here. And then you can see the canyon behind us. That's Moab Arch. Yeah, here we are. Here's me and my uncle. So Uncle Rick and myself. Someone took our picture there. Beautiful canyon over there, the Moab Arch. That was great. Yeah, I think somebody tried different angles and taken all different kinds of pictures. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they did. See, my mom, she got pretty close to it. You could see we were a little closer, but that's pretty close. She went right underneath it, but pretty close. So she got to that one, which is good. You could see it's uneven when you get out here. Moab Arch and Canyonlands. So there's a good shot of her. See, she's got her camera So she got pictures, and my uncle got pictures, but I figure my 770 pictures will be enough. This is under the Moab Arch. So you can see the arch at the top and then looking out at the canyon lands out there. Real neat. And so close-up shot of some of that. See, it looks like the Grand Canyon. I mean, especially this part here. This stuff here looks like the Grand Canyon. I mean, we don't have really that there at Grand Canyon, but I mean, it looks like the Grand Canyon. You don't have these mountains behind it, but yeah, very similar. You can see the top part of the arch there, and then the canyons behind it there. Really pretty. Yeah, there's my mom. Right at that arch there, Moab Arch. So here I'd walked, I believe I'd walked to the side of the arch and got a picture of the canyon below. So I got better shots of the canyon from this angle to the side. Yeah, look at that river, I guess, carved through there, probably at the flood. Noah's flood carved all this stuff. Here, so you can see the different layers. This isn't hundreds of millions of years. This is a worldwide flood in the days of Noah. Yeah. Yeah, look at all the different layers there. That's real neat. So, again, the side view. See how easy it is? I mean, you could walk up here and get up here and walk across, but there's a steep drop off over here, so it's illegal to do that. And so, of course, no one did it. There were a lot of people up there. No one did it, but I'm sure some people were tempted, especially teenagers, and I'm sure some people have done it, but just because it's illegal doesn't mean people don't do it. Yeah, I mean, you can see it's pretty wide up here. It's not like you're going to fall off as long as you're careful, but anyway, we didn't get up there. But yeah, beautiful shot on the other side of that arch there. All of the land there, canyon lands there. All the different layers. It's great. Yeah, look at that. I tell you, it's like Monument Valley with these things here. It's like Grand Canyon with this. It's like arches with that Moab Arch. There aren't too many arches in canyon lands, but it's beautiful. I say that's the best. Instead of going to the Grand Canyon and fighting all those crowds, go to Moab, Utah. Go to Arches and then go to Canyonlands. Easily a day each in those. You could probably spend a week in each of those if you spend a lot of time on all the trails and everything. So that in itself would probably be a great vacation. But of course, we were trying to go to all 5 of the national parks. And I especially want to go to Capitol Reef because I'd never even heard of that one. That was less known. And that was real scenic. I'm glad we went to that one. That's like the hidden gem of the national parks. Because what I found out is that if you go to Moab, it seemed like all the spring breakers from Colorado went to the eastern part of Utah because I saw a lot of Colorado plates. And that was Canyonlands and Arches, especially Arches. And then it seemed like all the California spring breakers drove up to Zion National Park because that's right just in the western part, just barely into Utah. And so I saw a lot of California plates there. But Capitol Reef is in the middle of the west and the east. So it takes longer to drive to. So, and there were very few hotels around there. There was a roadway inn when I was doing some research on it. They closed down. So there are just a couple of small hotels. I don't think there were any name brand hotels around Capitol Reef. So it's in the middle, takes longer to drive to. So that was great. That was like a hidden gem. Not as many people there. Isn't that a beautiful picture? Canyonlands. That is a great shot, which is why I stopped and talked about that stuff. You can look at that more. Canyonlands again. I just wanted to get the branch and all that. This is on a trail, a rim trail. I don't remember the name of it, but I think it was a mile, maybe a little more than a mile. And it was a lot of uneven stuff. My mom made the whole thing, but it was not easy. And it was cold. It got into the 20s, I think, maybe low 30s. There were some snow flurries. I was worried that, oh no, it's going to snow, but there was no snow in the forecast. And that was on that Sunday, right? Yes, Sunday. Actually, there was snow in the forecast for Sunday night. That's what it was. So I guess some of the snow got there a little early, but it was just flurries. It didn't stick to the ground, so we were fine. So this is that rim trail in Canyonlands. I don't remember the name, but real scenic, real pretty. Again, just looking down there in the canyon. I mean, it's so wide. Look at that. I don't think there are any trails down here, not that I know of, but I mean, it's just long, very long. Trying to get the strata, the different layers of the rock. These are all rocks. I mean, probably some dirt on it, but it's rock. Another view from this rim trail here. You can see the snow below there, shady area. Again, just it's a long, at least a mile. It may have been longer than that, maybe a mile and a half. A lot of uneven surfaces. But my mom, she was a trooper. She made the whole way, did just fine. Wasn't easy, but she made it. So anyway, you get different angles. And what was good about that is for the first half of this rim trail, you got the left side of the canyon, and then the right half, and then the last half, you got to see the right side of the canyon. So this was the left side. The right side's more scenic. So it was like this rock was right in the middle of two. So that made this a real neat trail. So again, just looking out at the canyon. Well, I skipped one. Ah, that was a good one. A lot of the brown, darker colors there. That's looking up. In fact, I said all that, the rim trail. This is actually still Moab Arch. And this is when I was walking at the side of it. So this is the top of the arch here. So you can see below there. Like I say, you just walk up here pretty easily. But again, it's illegal. So forget what I said about the rim trail. That's coming next. This is still Moab Arch. And I walked up there to the top. Okay, this is probably that rim trail. And looking at the canyon on the left side there. It may have just been called rim trail. I don't remember. See, you can see that the storm is coming in. Again, it didn't snow until that night, I guess. I don't actually remember it snowing. It probably snowed it when we were asleep. But you can see, when you see that, you know it's doing something. I think it probably was raining or snowing. Probably snowing out here because I know it did get to us and we did get snow flurries for a while there. So yeah, this was the rim trail because we didn't see this until we got to the rim trail. And so that's that left side. I mean, look how beautiful it is. Doesn't it look like the Grand Canyon? This here in the back and this and the colors and all that. Looks like you're at the Grand Canyon, but this is Canyonlands National Park, close to Moab, Utah, in Utah. And when you see the right side of the canyon, which is the last half of this rim trail, you'll see even more of that. You know, I talk about looking like the Grand Canyon. Yeah, just beautiful, beautiful pictures here, beautiful sights. There was a pit toilet there. I took a picture of this. I thought it was funny, you know, that they'd have to tell you this stuff. Thank you. Keep this toilet clean. Okay, what do? Sit on the toilet during use. Here's a picture. Sitting on a toilet. Do not stand on the toilet. Here's what you're not supposed to do. Do not use the floor. Use the toilet. Oh, okay. So that hole where all that stuff is in there, I'm not supposed to, I'm supposed to poop in there. I'm not supposed to just poop on the floor by side the toilet. Okay. Oh, when I'm done, I put the used toilet paper in the toilet, and I do not put trash in the toilet. Oh, I put the trash in the trash can. Use the trash can. Is this what it's come down to, ladies and gentlemen? That we got to have step-by-step instructions on how to use the toilet? I understand other countries do different things, but if you've gotten this far into America, you should probably already be familiar with the toilet and how it works. And you don't stand on it, you sit on it. You don't use the floor, you use the toilet. You put the toilet paper in the toilet. You put trash in the trash can. You should know all that stuff. I just thought that was hilarious. Okay, here, see there? See how that looks like the Grand Canyon? If I just show you this picture, you didn't know, you're not watching this video, you didn't know anything about it, and I just show you this picture, You're probably thinking, oh, it's a Grand Canyon. But no, this is Canyonlands National Park in Moab, Utah. Look at that. And these, when we get to Bryce Canyon, these are called hoodoos. And they sort of look like Q-tips. You got the brown and then the white up there. But they call them hoodoos, which is named after the Indians named it. Were like bad people were turned into stone by God. And so each one of these represents a person, I guess. There are a lot of hoodoos in Bryce Canyon. There were just a few here in Canyonlands. So that's the hoodoos. Pretty neat. Yeah, it was a good section of them there. That's still the left side of the canyon on the rim trail. Left side of the canyon, because that was a good half of the walk there was on that side. Again, just walk farther down, get a different angle of the hoodoos. Pretty neat. And you can see them all spread out now. Here's some here, some here, some here, all around here, these hoodoos. I think I was trying to show the clouds. You can see the storm. That was probably snowing over there, but it's just snow flurries. It didn't really stick, so you don't see the snow on the ground. Here's a good picture of a rock there. Look at that. How beautiful that is. Top of the hoodoos there, and seeing some more of the rocks out here. Beautiful creation that God made. That, I think, because the clouds now starting to get overhead, it's not as sunny, so it's not as clear there. That shot there. Hey, there's my mom. See, she made that whole trail. That was a real tough one because of the uneven stuff, but she made it. Good shot of her next to that rock there. I just thought it'd be neat to get a picture of that, get up close. I try to do, that's really, that right there was up close of this stuff here. I just got real up close to it and got a picture of that. And that's the top of that. No, I skipped one. No, that one wasn't that good. That's neat there. Just trying to get some of these trees. Isn't it weird how, look at how gnarly this stuff is. They don't grow straight. I guess because of all the wind, the swirling wind, it makes these, and then it's in rock. How do these little trees grow out of these rocks? Just get a little dirt, and then you get the wind, so just get these gnarly branches out of there. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Look at how these things grow. It's just weird. Oh, I grow up here, and I'll go down here. I grow up here, I'll go over here. I'll go up here, go down here, and go down there. Wow, that's a real neat shot there. That was some rocks that we were walking next to, and there were holes, so I just got a real close shot of that. Hey, that's pretty neat. That's really neat. Look at that tree. I just try to step back, take the whole thing. It's just so weird how these trees grow. No leaves, There, again, a close-up shot of a rock. Wow, that's a good one. In between these two big rocks that we're standing next to, and there's the canyon below. I was getting up close, trying to show this different formation there. Yeah, look at all those holes in the rocks. Who knows how that's created? Yeah, you can see the trail here. People walking on that trail there, up there. And you're just walking on a rock. On one side is the canyons over here, and on the other side is the other canyon. I tried to get up I just got in one of those trees and got a close-up shot of the branches. That's kind of neat. Seeing all those branches in one spot. Wow, I think now this is the right side of the canyon. So at first we're walking down the trail, you see the left side. It's like the trail goes in the middle, and the first half of the trail you see the left side, and then the last half you see the right side, which I thought was even prettier than the left side. I think that's the right side of the canyon now. Yeah, you can see the different hills there. Tell you, it looks like the Grand Canyon. Look at that. I mean, you would think that's the Grand Canyon, but it's not. It's Canyonlands National Park, Moab, Utah. Look at that. Now you can see the storm coming in. it was starting to get cold. Well, I mean, it was cold at the beginning, but it's starting to get even colder with this storm coming in. Look at that light shining through in the canyons there. Yeah, there's the. I was trying to get the with the clouds coming in. It was sort of fog. I was trying to get the clouds, and anyway, it looked neater in person. The picture didn't come out too good. Yeah, I got the cloud really good on that one. Wow. Trying to get the contrast here. The branches up close, the trail, the rocks here, and then the canyon out there. And you can see the shade from the clouds on that part there. There, see, there's the clouds coming in there. Wow, that is great. All those colors. Yeah, that's a great shot. Yeah, it's Canyonlands is a great park. Probably the most popular of the parks we went to was Zion, just because it's closer to California. Arches is probably second, and Bryce is probably third. But when we went, it wasn't, just because there's so much snow you couldn't really walk on trails in Bryce. But Canyonlands, it's like nobody knows about it, but it's just as beautiful as the Grand Canyon. I tell you, that'd be great. If I go back to Utah for vacation, I'll probably just spend a week in Arches and Canyonlands. That way I'm not dealing with all the people, and you get to see all the sights. I mean, that would be a much better trip than just spending a week in the Grand Canyon, I think. More variety. Wow. Isn't it pretty? You're on this trail, then you see the rocks below in this tree, and then you see these huge rocks there. Okay, this is a different trail. And it started, I think, here. I think. No, it was before that. Okay, that I think is the last picture I took on the Rim Trail. Now we're on another trail called Upheaval Dome. And there was a huge meteor. That's what they said. A meteor hit the earth and caused this big crater. And so we're walking up to Upheaval Dome, and there's a first overlook, which is half a mile up, and my mom did that one, and that was kind of rocky, but she made it. And then she waited there, and then she started walking back. But then anyway, we went another 3/4 of a mile to the second overlook, and that was really spectacular. The second overlook of Upheaval Dome, because it was a lot higher. So anyway, we're just walking up Upheaval Dome here, I believe is what we're doing. Yeah, this is looking down. This is probably the first overlook, Upheaval Dome, looking down into it. Upheaval Dome. And so this is, you can see the rock around here in this hole. So they're saying this hole, it's kind of hard to see, but this hole was created by a meteor that hit. Anyway, that's what they're saying. Who knows? It's not like anybody was around to see it. So it created this huge hole, and then this rock here was upheaved up from it. Anyway, that's the theory. What actually happened, I have no idea. But that's the first look from Upheaval Dome, the first overlook. And you'll see it better when we get to the second overlook. So that's looking down. So you can see these rocks here, and then that's that Upheaval Dome, the dome that's actually going up. That was this part here. This part here, but down below here was some other dome, like a little hill. It was a brown hill. So what I did is I got closer and I did close up so you can see the brown hill, and then there's the Upheaval Dome. It was just you can't walk over there because it's this huge crater, so you can't walk into it. But that's looking into Upheaval Dome, first overlook there. So yeah, first overlook. Beautiful rocks there. Again, what you see, there's that little part, and then the other part, and this huge crater here. Okay, now I think we're walking up to the second overlook, which is another 3/4 of a mile. There was a lot of climbing, and I came very close not to getting up there. My uncle got up there to a part, and it was just so steep. And maybe I got pictures of it, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, I'm not going to make it. And I spent a good 3 to 5 minutes analyzing exactly how I was going to get up there. And then I finally got up the nerve and I did it. And I'm so glad I did. A lot of times you get up there, they say, oh, yeah, you got to go to the top. You know, it's great. You got to go to the top. And I do it. I get up the nerve and I'm thinking, I was scared to death and it really wasn't worth it. The view wasn't great. This was an exception to this. It was very much worth getting to the top. The view was much better from the second overlook. So anyway, I think this is it. I think this is the second overlook. You can see we're up a lot higher than we were before. There's that mound, but again, we're up higher. So you can see the whole thing. See, we're up higher to that whole rock there. So that was really neat. It's hard to see how high we are. It's really hard to get a grasp of it, but we're up in the air pretty good. So this is this huge hole, Upheaval Dome, and it's still in Canyonlands National Park. I think this is the view, I think, walking down. Yeah, here he is. This is, okay, yeah, I'm not at the second overlook. This is where Rick is up there on that hill. And he's looking at me like, hey, you going to come up? What are you going to do? Just sit down there the whole time? And I'm looking like, that's pretty steep. I see these other people made it. You're up here. How do I get up there from there? I don't know. So I'm not actually at the second overlook yet. See, this is where I was. You can see here he is. There's Rick, and he's standing there. And the thing is, it's not really the elevation so much. It's just, it's slippery rock. What are you going to hold on to, you know? I'm scared of sliding down, mainly going back down. That's the scary part. But I see all these other people going up, you know, so peer pressure, right? So I just stood in this spot a good 3 to 5 minutes figuring out how to do it. So I figured out how a more level part to get across and then another level part to get up there. It's kind of hard to see, but anyway, it was scary. And here it is. Now I finally made it to the top. So it was worth it. You can see we're really up high now over this whole crater here, this Upheaval Dome. Looking down below from there. See how steep it is? So yeah, that's why it was kind of scary. But anyway, did it. Lived to tell about it. But isn't that beautiful? You get up, when you're up that high, you could see the whole crater. It was so massive. So it's a giant hole, but it's got all these. And, you know, I sort of think it's not really a crater because they have a meteor crater in Arizona that I've been to. And it's just a giant hole in the ground. It's circular. But here it's got all these ridges and things. So it makes me think it really wasn't a meteor, that just God made it differently. That's what I think. Anyway, the theory is that a meteor hit. And because it's not a round hole, you know, this is a whole hole, but then you got these hills within the hole. Yeah, isn't that beautiful up there? Just this giant hole in the ground with hills within the hole. And there's the hills close up. Another close-up shot of the hills. Another close-up shot of the hills. Yeah. You can see how steep it is. There, see, Rick, when he's looking, I mean, you gotta look, you're gonna look where you put your feet. So we're standing up here and then the hole is down there. So he says, hey, get my picture. So there he is. He got his feet planted. He got his feet planted here. So now we can get a picture. But you know, it's hard to see what's behind him because there's in a hole behind you, you know? So anyway, here he is standing, and you can see we've got other shots of the hole. So standing in front of a hole. Yeah, and there was a couple, 2 people up there same time, and they got a picture. I got them to get a picture of us there. That is a really good shot. They got up a little higher so you can see us and the hole behind it. That is a great shot. I like that one. I like that. And then after I got the shots, then I said, after they got the shots, and I said, hey, will you keep the camera and take video of us sliding down the hole now, going down, because it was pretty steep, but course, I'm joking. We made it just fine. Yeah, so that's a really good shot. I like that. That's I don't know, I might have to make that a screensaver or something. That's really good. Yeah. Oh, they rotated it. I gotta hit the button. Where do I hit the button? There it is. I try not to take vertical pictures like that because then they don't they're farther away when you show them on the screen. This is showing at 35%, whereas the other one is showing at 62%. So they're farther away. But anyway, great shots. Wow, so there's Canyonlands again. And you can see there's an actual river. I think that may have been Green River. I know we stayed in Green River, Utah. I think that's Green River that goes through the canyon. That was a different part. That was a different trail there. Forget the name of that one. I don't think that was that long of a trail. I remember it was very cold. I remember that in the 30s, low 30s, I think, at this time. That was a cold day. Canyonlands, by the way, is about 6,000 elevation. So it was 4,000 in Arches, 4,000 in Zion, about 6,000 in Canyonlands. They don't get as much snow, though, as the Bryce Canyon Capitol Reef area because a lot of that snow gets dumped on that area before it gets to Canyonlands. The eastern side of Utah is drier as a result of being on the other side of the mountains. In California, the mountain range is sort of halfway between the state, and the eastern side of California is desert. So you can think of it sort of like that with Utah, except the elevation on the eastern side is higher. So they get snow and they get rain, but just not as much as the western side because all that storm is just all that precipitation is dumped on the western side because of the higher mountains. So that's why Canyonlands can be 6,000 feet, but you really don't have the danger as much or as much snow over there. It was snowing, snow flurries, but it didn't it didn't stick to the ground. So that's Canyonlands, a different trail. I think it's the Green River Trail there. I don't think we walked too far, maybe a mile, maybe not even that. Plus, it had gotten pretty cold. So, yeah, beautiful country. Look at that. You think it's the Grand Canyon. I keep saying that. Yeah, that looks like some Grand Canyon shot. I think there was a trail. This was our last trail today. It was getting kind of late. And the snow is supposed to rain or /snow that night. And we had done a lot of walking. And all these days, there wasn't really a place to eat in the park. And we'd spend all day in the park. So we'd eat a huge breakfast. And then we wouldn't eat anything till dinner. We'd eat 2 times a day. Then we did a huge dinner. So by this time, it's very cold. It's probably low 30s. I'm very hungry. There was a trail that you could walk down to this rock and go and see all that, but we didn't take it. That would have taken too much time. Okay, so I think this is the next day. I think this is Capitol Reef National Park. So this would have been Monday, March 27th. Capitol Reef National Park. I'm pretty sure of that. So I said that's sort of the one that is in the middle of the state. I still got this up here, maybe. Yeah, so here's the map. So we stayed in Green River. First day is Arches. That's their Arches National Park. You can see it's right by the Colorado border. And here's Grand Junction, Colorado. Here's Colorado. So here's Moab. See, right here is Arches. And then here's Canyonlands. And you can see we were in the Island in the Sky part, but you can go down here to this area here somewhere, and that's the Needles part, I think. Anyway, we went to this part. So then each day we drove back up to Green River. We stayed 3 nights in Green River. And now the next day, Monday, March 27th, we drove down here. Escalante, actually right here. This area here is Capitol Reef. This area here, we took the 12. I'm sorry, this is 24. 24 to Hanksville. And then this area here is Capitol Reef National Park, somewhere in here. And see over here, here's Vegas. And here's Zion, and Bryce is up here. So a lot of people from California were in Zion because the lower elevation and warmer. A lot of people from Colorado went to Arches or Canyonlands. They're used to the colder weather. And Bryce, not many people went to Bryce because you really couldn't hike because of the snow. We'll get to that in a minute. So here's Capitol Reef, and it's right here. It's sort of in the middle. So not many people went to that, and there aren't many hotels. It's not many people living between Green River, all this area here. Hanksville had maybe 500 people. I don't know. There were very few people. This whole stretch here has got to be like a 2.5-hour drive. And I doubt there's more than 50,000 people living in that whole area there. So there aren't many accommodations. You know, I don't even think there may have been a hotel or two in the Capitol Reef area. I don't really remember one. So we stayed in Green River, and then we were Capitol Reef that day. And then the next day we drove over here. So we stayed Sunday night, Green River, our last night there, 3 nights, drove Capitol Reef, day there. And then we drove up to Richfield, Utah, which is right here on the highway. And we got there at night and stayed there that night. Okay, let's go back to our photos. So here's Capitol Reef National Park. This is like the hidden gem. You'll see all these pictures. So first trail, my mom did not go on this, a lot of uneven rocks. The first trail is Hickman Natural Bridge Trail. I think it's 3/4 of a mile one way, 3/4 of a mile back, lots of uneven rock, but very scenic. You can see the rocks. This is Capitol Reef National Park. Look at that. It reminds me of El Capitan in Yosemite, California. Just a straight, rock here. A rock, very challenging for a rock climber. I mean, where are you going to latch on here, Here you could go up here, but what about this? You can see the trail here, steps. They made steps out of the rocks. So this is, we climbed up a little bit. And so I took a picture. You can see the road. That's a Highway 24, Capitol Reef National Park. And you can see all the rocks around it here. And there's a river too. Actually, when we first drove in, before we got on the trail, we saw a deer cross this road here, Highway 24, probably to get some water. So there's the water. There's the picture there. Yeah, I'd say Capitol Reef is a great national park, very scenic. Trying to see, I don't think, maybe that's my uncle. Maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, I think I was going to take his picture there, and he bent down for some reason. Here he is. It's like he's in a football thing. 34, 75, 86, hike. He's like he's the center. That's what it looks like. Okay, he's not the center anymore. There he is in front of that massive rock. Yeah, that was a neat picture there. Sort of a dome-like structure, and you got this darker brown in there, so that was neat. Closer shot of that. And again, with the rocks there. This was not the natural bridge. We got to it at first and said, oh, is this a natural bridge? Oh, no, it's much bigger than that. And you actually couldn't walk on the natural bridge. It was too high up in the air. What is the difference between a natural bridge and an arch? I don't know. I think an arch is sort of curved and a natural bridge is flat. That's about the only difference I could figure out. But this was just a neat place you could walk down and get under there. This isn't the official natural bridge. Okay, walking up there on the trail again, getting to the bridge. We're getting close. And here it is. Doesn't it look like an arch? Look at that. It's an arch, right? But they call it a natural bridge because it's, I guess if all this stuff wasn't up here and it was just the arch here like that, that would be an arch. But the fact that this is level, sort of, kind of, although that Moab arch over in Canyonlands, that was level at the top, but they didn't have as much rock. This is more rock, so they call it Hickman Natural Bridge. I don't know. I don't know how they do this, but anyway, here it is. Hickman Natural Bridge. Why is it a natural bridge? Why isn't it an arch? Rick says it's an arch. Well, you can't argue with that logic after you've seen all those other arches. Looks like an arch to me. We saw all those arches in Arches National Park. We saw some in Canyonlands, and now it looks like we're seeing another arch in Capitol Reef. That's a side view of it. That was pretty cool. We actually walked underneath it. See, we walked underneath. Well, we're not there yet. We walked on the side here. That's the side there. There I am trying to do what I did in Arches. So that again is the arch. I'm directly underneath the natural bridge. So there I'm looking directly vertically up. So this is up in the sky above my head, but I'm pointing the camera up. So you got the side view of my head and then the natural bridge behind it. So you wouldn't know it by looking at it, but that's what it is. That looks more like the arch there. That you can see the curvature there. I'm sorry, natural bridge. Looks more like the natural bridge above me. That's actually a pretty good photo there. This is on the other side now of the natural bridge because you could actually walk underneath it. None of the side. It was a loop trail. So 3/4 of a mile to it and 3/4 of a mile back, and it was a loop. So that's the natural bridge, supposedly, whatever you want to call it. That's a good shot there, again, of that. The underneath of it there. And there I am trying to get myself in there. Oh, that was good because now you can see the underneath of it, the arch. You can see me, and you can see these rock formations. And I think the next one I tried to get me smiling. I tried to get my photo, but you can't quite see it. There it is. I got it on that one. There I am smiling underneath the Hickman Natural Bridge and then the other rocks. That might be another good screensaver there. It's a good shot there. So this is the other side of the Hickman Natural Bridge. We're walking, you can see there's the bridge, but it was the other side, so the colors are different now. Looking through there. That was neat. I mean, it's just amazing that these trees can just grow out of a rock. You're looking up there, here's a rock. Well, must be some dirt in there somehow, and the roots get through. I don't know how that works. That was pretty good with the sun and the rock and the little pine tree. That's really good there. Nice rock formation there. Thinking this may be another trail. I'm thinking it's looking different. I don't know. Anyway, it's Capitol Reef National Park. It's probably still the Hickman Natural Bridge Trail. I think it is. That's good with the sun, with the rays. That's neat. The rays coming down. That's good. That little tree. You know, it's winter. Technically, it's the first week of spring, but it's still cold and they're still getting snow, and it was a big snow season. So you still have a lot of trees that don't have any leaves. Okay, I know where this is now. Okay, so we're off the Hickman Natural Bridge Trail, and there was off of Highway 24 there in Capitol Reef National Park, there was petroglyphs, is what they call it, which I call it graffiti, which I think is funny. I didn't take a picture of it, but there is a sign walking up to the petroglyphs, and it says graffiti is unsightly, or I think is unsightly and illegal is what it says. Graffiti is illegal and unsightly. But yeah, so you can't be writing graffiti. We don't want any graffiti. But yet, if some Indians did it a couple 100 years ago up on a wall, oh, that's not graffiti, that's petroglyphs. And we'll put a sign out here and we'll build a trail and we'll all go look at the petroglyphs. But if I do anything, oh, that's not petroglyph. That's graffiti. That is unsightly. What if the Indians did it 200 years ago? Oh, that's petroglyphs. Isn't that beautiful? So here it is, petroglyphs. There are men here written. It's 6 men here. And I tell you, a lot of these pictures that I take, I can't believe how good these pictures come out because I'm looking at a little screen when I take these pictures. And a lot of times if the sun is out, I can't see what's on that screen. So that's why it's hard to see. To try to find these petroglyphs in this screen is tough. So anyway, that was it, petroglyphs. And now I'm taking pictures of other things. Yeah, I think that was it on the petroglyphs. So let me go back to it. That's the best shot I had. This one. So there is a man here. You can see there's his head, his arms there, his upper body, his legs there. Then there's another. It looked like robot heads to me. That looks like a body and arm, but this looks like a robot head. And same thing here, like an alien, there. And then there's another one there and there and there and there. And then there were also some goats over off the side, not there, but another place. And I don't think I got a picture of it. It was hard enough to get that picture. I did good to get that. Okay, now what we're on is, now we're on a different trail. This is called the Grand Wash Trail. It's 2.2 miles long one way. And really what we did was we went probably about 1.5 miles at least, maybe a little more, maybe 1.75 miles. And then we went back, and it was all in this wash. And my mom didn't get to go on the natural bridge trail with us. So I asked the ranger, I said, is there a trail that doesn't have uneven surfaces? And this was it. So my mom walked the entire way with me. Round trip was probably a little over 3 miles. And you've got rocks on the each side. Well, when you get about 1.25 miles in, it's a place called the Narrows. And you got rocks on either side. That's the most scenic area. But this here, I'm taking pictures because there are all these holes in these rocks. I mean, isn't it something? You're walking and you got this rocks over here and there are all these holes in it. So that's what I'm getting there, the holes in the rocks. Holy rocks. In fact, was that my mom in that picture? That's probably my mom right there. Did it go? Okay. It's resizing. Okay. That's neat with the rays there of the sun. So this is the Grand Wash Trail. Yeah, that's neat with the rock there. There's my uncle. And he's up there. Yeah, I remember that. We're walking in the wash, and then there's this here, and it's pretty steep. And it's just the rock right there. And it looks like you go up there, but it's kind of steep and hard to get hold. So there are a couple little stairs, natural stairs. So he walked up there and I walked up there too. So that's him up there. Another picture of him on the rock there. I think the picture of me is in his camera. That's a really neat rock formation, Capitol Reef. Capitol Reef has a lot of rocks, just like Arches or Canyonlands, but it doesn't have all the bright red colors. The colors aren't quite there. But anyway, there's a video, and I'll put it on there, but there's a video of me driving down this gravel road, or packed dirt road, I should say, for 10 miles. And I took video. It was like driving in the Narrows, and that was in Capitol Reef National Park. That is going to be a great video. So I have to post videos later, but I'm making a video of the still shots now. Yeah, look at these beautiful rock formations. This is in Grand Wash Trail, Capitol Reef National Park. Now we're probably in the Narrows. You can see we're walking down this wash. It's a grand wash. You can see it's level, but here's a rock over here. Here's a rock over here. So it's pretty neat there. Probably turned that, didn't I? Yeah, that's going through there. Yep. Look at that. Sun was coming through there. That was a good shot. See the different rocks there. Oh yeah, this was almost toward where I turned back. there was this, it was way up here, and there was this, looked like a cave. But the thing is, it was so steep. I was trying to see if there was a way I could get up there and see what was up there. I bet that would have been really neat to be up there because there's a big cave, but it was just, sheer rock underneath. There wasn't really any way to get up there without risking falling or being steep or not, So anyway, I like that cave and I wanted to get up there, but couldn't. So that was my best shot there. Okay, we're going back now, I think, in the Grand Wash, and that was real neat there. Oh, I know what this is. Okay, this is different. So this was the last shot I got on the Grand Wash Trail. Then we went back, and there's a scenic drive. We hadn't gone to the scenic drive. We went on Hickman Natural Bridge Trail, Grand Wash Trail, and the petroglyphs. And now we're going off on the scenic drive, and which is very beautiful. And that goes like 10 miles, I think. And then when you get to the end of the scenic drive, then you've got the like driving through the Narrows, where you're driving on this gravel or this packed dirt road for another 10 miles. And it was narrow. And so this scenic drive, the 10-mile scenic drive off of Highway 24, and then the other 10-mile drive, which is called the Capitol Gorge area, that was real beautiful. That's what made it worth it. And if we had more time, that would have been great, because you could walk after you finish the 10-mile scenic drive, then you can walk back for, I think, 8 miles or so. They've got a part like that called the Narrows in Zion, but you're walking in all this. We couldn't walk it because you got all this water from the snowfall, and you didn't have that in Capitol Reef and that Capitol Gorge. So that way, if I had more time, that'd be another thing to do. Spend a couple extra days and walk that trail down Capitol Gorge, those Narrows. That would have been really good. So anyway, here we are on the scenic drive. So we took beautiful rocks. So we just had to get out and get on top of these rocks. So that's Rick on a rock, and he's still on that rock. Look at that. Isn't that a great shot? I mean, here's my uncle right here. You got these beautiful rocks over here, and here's this one. And it looks like it's teetering. I mean, it looks like it's a teeter-tot. Teeter-tot. I think it's called teeter-tot. I want to call it tater-tot. But you can see here, there's rock, and it's leaning this way. This huge rock. You see how huge it is. Look at my uncle. He's standing over here. Huge rock. You couldn't get up there. And it looks like it's balancing right here. It's probably been like that for a couple 100 years. Look at that rock. So here we are driving on a scenic road. You can see my rear view mirror here. So this was me in the car driving on the scenic road, taking shots. I mainly took video. Yeah, that was real good there. Look at that rock. Huge rocks there. Again, not as colorful as Arches or Canyonlands, but still very nice. Very scenic. Capitol Reef National Park. I'd say of the 5 national parks in Utah, by far the least visited and just as beautiful as the others. I'd love to go back and do that complete Capitol Gorge hike, but it was the end of the day when we got there. We'd already done those other hikes. So, I mean, it's hard to visit 5 national parks. To be a national park, it's got to be really scenic. So, so you just can't cover it all in one day. And we hit 5 national parks in 5 days. So this is our 3rd day after the drive, and the 3rd national park. I think this is where there was a pull off right before. This is at the end of the scenic drive. Then you got that 10-mile drive down through Capitol Gorge on that dirt road. And I took video of that the whole time. But this is a view, because you see people are out here. So I think this is a view just before the Capitol Gorge dirt road drive. Yeah, that's what that is. Because there's a little rest area, I think. Yeah, very beautiful, very scenic. This sort of looked like maybe an Egyptian, like a pharaoh, Up here, you got this, his little hat, Egyptian eyes, and that's what we thought that was there. Look at how beautiful that is. Capitol Reef National Park. Most people never even heard of it. They've heard of Zion or Bryce or Arches, maybe Canyonlands, but Capitol Reef. I'd heard of the other 4 national parks. I never heard of that one. I remember looking up Utah. I thought, oh, maybe we can go to Arches and Canyonlands and Zion and Bryce. And I look it up and they say, oh, there are 5 national parks. 5? What's the 5th one? Oh, right in the middle, Capitol Reef. Oh, I need to turn that one. Yeah. I think this is on that road, that dirt road. I took video, but I also took snapshots. Oh yeah, that's what, okay, this is what this is. Okay. When we got here, we'd done the end of the dirt road. And now we're starting to walk. And we walked out, we may have walked out a mile, probably not that far. But it was, end of the day, starving. We've already walked a lot. And we still got to get out of here. And we still had a couple-hour drive to get to Richfield, Utah, which was where we're staying the next day. So we didn't get to spend as much time in Capitol Reef as we wanted to, just because of the location of it. So we did walk out maybe a mile, if that. So we're walking. Did I skip a picture? No. So we're walking. And get this, we're on the floor here. This is walking down. This is like, I don't know how many feet up, couple hundred, maybe like 500, 400, 500 feet. I don't know how many, but a good distance from the floor up here. There are names up here. Apparently, the people who first found it, there's the historic Fruita, F-R-U-I-T-A school. We went to the Fruita school that was at Capitol Reef. And the names, there were names of people that founded this area around late 1800s, early 1900s. And they wrote their names very legibly in the rock. There are 7 names up here. And it's like 100 feet, 200 feet up. See, at least 100 feet, 200 feet, maybe 300 or 400, maybe 500 feet. It's way up there. Well, apparently 130 years ago, the floor of this Capitol Gorge was up here because they wrote their names. I mean, I don't think people back in the late 1800s, early 1900s did rock climbing, these 7 people, and very legibly wrote their names in the rock. So you got to assume the level of the gorge, the water or the sand is way up here. And this is road level 120 years ago. And so here are the names. You can see a little better. I guess there are only 6 names. 6. Again, it's really hard to see this. So through the viewfinder. That's why the pictures aren't that great. But yeah, you can see. Here are the names up there, way up there. And we're down here. There, I took another shot of the names. Here we go. There are the names. I think I found a shady part where I could actually see the names, and I got a close-up shot later on, I think. Or maybe that's as close as I can get. Oh, here we go. Here we go. That's probably zoomed in as much as I could right there. So you got the 6 names up there. Oh, here. Now you can read them. Maybe. Let me go back. Okay, so it's what? John something. Quinny Stewart. John Stewart. Quinn A. Stewart. Isaac R. Hayes. E. Hayes, it looks like. Clifton, maybe Jason A. Clifton. And Sam Gifford. I remember Gifford was in there too. So, yes, he had 6 names. And then they wrote the date, September 28th, 1911 on there. So, yeah, there they are. Up there on that rock, way up there in the sky. Oh, wow, I got close there. Yeah, so John R. Stewart, Quimby Stewart, Isaac R. Hayes, E something Hurst, Jason A. Overton, and Sam Gifford. Yeah, those are the names. September 28th, 1911. And they're way up there. Or who knows, maybe there was rock going up there and now the rock's chipped off. I don't know, but 110 years ago, you could walk, that was level. And now it's way up there, a few hundred feet in the air, a couple hundred feet, I guess. Look at that. You'd think you're in the Grand Canyon. No, Capitol Reef National Park. Maybe. It's not the next day, is it? What's the next day? Next day was Bryce Canyon. Okay, this is Bryce Canyon. So that's the last shot of Capitol Reef National Park. Next day, Bryce Canyon. So it was, what day would that have been? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, March what? 28th. Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. This is called Red Canyon, and it's a few miles before you actually enter into Bryce Canyon National Park. So on the map, so we were in Capitol Reef here, then we drove across. This is the route we took on that Friday going to Green River. This is after Capitol Reef on that Monday, we drove Monday night, got over to Richfield. We took the 24, Highway 24, go over to Richfield, stayed in Richfield, which is here. And then the next day drove down here to Bryce Canyon. I think it's somewhere right around here where this 8-hour, 30-minute thing is. I think somewhere around there. And so that was Tuesday morning. So Red Canyon is a few miles before you get to Bryce Canyon. So we're in Red Canyon here. Bryce Canyon is 7,700 elevation feet. The high, 7,700 feet elevation. The high that day was maybe 30 degrees. It was sunny. High was maybe 30. The low that night was going to be about 10. And there's snow all over the place. Now, of course, they've paved the roads. But if you get off the roads, a lot of times you couldn't walk around much. So we didn't spend a whole lot of time in Bryce. We pretty much just drove from point to point within Bryce Canyon. So this is Red Canyon before you get to Bryce. You can see the hoodoos are starting there. And that's Bryce Canyon is known for the hoodoos. So here is Red Canyon from the road there, or a first view of some hoodoos there. Now you can see them a lot better. And because we're not up at Bryce Canyon yet, you don't see much snow. Here's a little snow, but you don't see any around here. Red Canyon, the road is down here. You can see the car and you drive underneath this, but that was beautiful there. Formation there at the, right by the road. There's the road, Red Canyon. There. Again, driving Red Canyon. Meow. We're probably in Bryce Canyon now. 7,700 feet elevation. All the driving points went up to, I think the highest one went up to 8,300 elevation. And so we've got a lot of snow up here. See, now you can see. In fact, this may still be Red Canyon. I don't know. But you can see we're getting, okay, this is Bryce Canyon for sure, because these are all the hoodoos down here. This, I think, was Sunset Point. We stopped at Sunset Point first. There's a Fairyland Loop trail, but that was snowed in. You couldn't drive over there. That's just before the park entrance. And after the park entrance, there is Sunrise Point, which we did not stop at first. Stopped at leaving. This is Sunset Point. This is our first point that we stopped at. And we could walk some, but not a whole lot. You see all the snow. We're at like 7,900, 8,000 feet elevation here. But look at all the hoodoos here. And it actually makes it prettier, I think. You got, it's not just the red rock, but you got the snow there too. And it defines the layers too, because like the snow is up here, but there's no snow here because it's sheer rock. You know, it's not a flat surface. So there's a little bit of flat surface, so you got some snow here. and then nothing here, but then a little bit of flat surface here. So it sort of defines the rock with that white there. So yeah, very beautiful. So this is Sunset Point in Bryce Canyon, Tuesday, March 28th. Look at that. Look at all that. It was freezing cold, but it was sunny. So we just bundled up and endured the cold and took some great photos. Sunset Point, I believe. That's what that is. That there's a little sign there. So we're on the side of the trail there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Sunset Point. My uncle brought some sort of clamp-ons on his shoes that he had. Me and my mom, we're in Alabama, we don't have that stuff. But he had some clamp-ons. So he walked a little bit out on that trail there, and we just stayed in this one spot and got some great photos. Bryce Canyon, wow. This may have been the next point, and I forget what it's called. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the next point. All these hoodoos. They've got names for some of them, but I don't know them. Or at least these, they may or may not be named, based on the shape. So here are all these hoodoos down here. Oh, that's a good close-up. So you see the hoodoos down in the valley. Again, the Indians believe that God struck people, some people, and killed them, and they turned into stone. And that, so that would have been a person, that would have been a person, that would have been a person. And each one of these is considered a hoodoo. So there are hoodoos. Wow, look at that. Look at all that snow. See, this snow is right in front of us. In fact, I took these pictures and some of the snow was blowing back on me when a wind would come. And then I'm trying to get above the snow, but then because you're looking down in the valley, you don't see much of the hoodoos. So this here, I think, was a spot where the snow was lower down. So I was able to get in the valley a little better. And again, with the sun, it's sort of hard to see on the viewfinder, so I didn't really know what I was taking. So I'm really surprised at how good these pictures came out. Yeah, real beautiful, real scenic. Oh, wow, that's a good shot of my mom there. I think that's Sunset Point still. Or maybe it's the point after. I don't know. They have just different names. You go down the road, there's a different point. So that's a good shot of my mom with all the hoodoos in the background, Bryce Canyon. Yeah, it's another good shot. And there I'm trying to get down below. And of course, it's a whole lot more beautiful in person because this is two-dimensional photos. And it's in 3D when you're there, So a lot better in person. Okay, this was still Sunset Point because we went to the restroom, and this is the little restroom thing, and so I'm trying to get the ice up there on see the icicles there. I'm trying to get a picture of that. Look at that. Turn it around. There you go. See the ice, the snow on the roof, and the ice there, icicles coming down. Okay, this is probably the next point after Sunset Point, and I don't remember the name of it. You can see there's a lot of snow. The fact in the forecast, I don't know what actually happened, but in the forecast, the Monday and Tuesday, the week before we left, it was supposed to get a combined foot of snow in Bryce Canyon. And then there would have been more snow that fell on that Sunday night. And now we're the next Tuesday. So you got to figure they had at least a foot of snow in the last week, over a foot of snow. And then you add in all the snow they've had before this, because this is the end of March and they've had just a record-breaking snow. So there's a lot of snow up here. So this is some other point. This is Inspiration Point. I remember that because I think it's 8,100 feet elevation, and it has the biggest concentration of hoodoos of any place. So you see all those, that whole valley here. So God really got angry at all those people. There were a whole lot of Indians he was angry at there, and he turned all these people into stone. Of course, that didn't really happen, but that's what they say. And you can see all the snow here. But these, see, they're so vertical that you see snow on the top a little bit, but they're pretty much just sheer columns. So that's why you got all the snow up here and over here, but you don't have them on these because they're just vertical. So if the snow falls, it just goes down to the ground. It doesn't stick to the side, There's a gravity. So yeah, there you go. You could see I thought that was neat there, those three there. But this is Inspiration Point and all those hoodoos. Now here I'm trying to kind of get close up different areas here. These sort of look like, pointed more, and these are they just have different shapes, different colors. Look at all those, the hoodoos. This is where you're inspired. Inspired to do what? I don't know, but this is the Inspiration Point. I was looking for the Inspiration Quartet, but I didn't see them around here. They're probably too smart to go to a place so cold like that. These look different, different layers to these, but still they're so vertical that you don't have any snow resting on these, just at the top, a little bit at the top. But yeah, just a Inspiration Point, just a whole valley full of hoodoos. And there I was trying to show again the snow, so a lot of snow there. And again, my uncle went down someplace walking with his clamp-ons, and then we just stayed in that spot there. So getting all the different hoodoos, and now trying to get the tops of them. When you see there's a trail here and around here, they got several loop trails down there. My uncle and I did that years ago, and they're really pretty because they can get down there at the hoodoo. So it's great if you could go down there, but you got to go when there's no snow. So they look different for you to be down there. You don't have the snow with them, so it's a trade-off. It's good to be able to walk down there and spend your time, but same time, this is prettier, I think, with the snow. You just can't get down there among them. So again, Inspiration Point, again, those three that we saw before. And more of Inspiration Point, different angles, zoomed in. I took a lot of pictures here because it's the biggest concentration of hoodoo. So just trying to get a lot of views. Okay, so I think this one is Bryce Point. That's the last point on the road. There's also another side road where they have other points, but that was closed because of the snow. Bryce Point was 8,300 elevation. It was the highest point we could get to, and a lot of snow there, but and a parking lot. I mean, you're waiting just for a parking spot, probably for a good 10 minutes. But anyway, we got a parking spot, got in there. And this is walking on the side. You can see all the snow there, like a sidewalk there. Not the actual trail, but the sidewalk. And so see, this is Bryce Point, it's called. B-R-Y-C-E, Bryce Point. And a lot more hoodoo. Again, the biggest concentration of hoodoos is at Inspiration Point, but there's still quite a few here at Bryce Point. And very good pictures here. Just getting the pictures walking down that sidewalk there, right where the parking lot is, and looking over on the side. That's what these are. I know at the very end of that walk, I saw some birds, a couple of crows that I got pictures of. So I know we're not at that point yet because I don't see the crows yet. But yeah, very scenic, all the hoodoos. This one, the Inspiration Point, seemed like they were all at the same level. Here at Bryce Point, you got this level and this higher level and this higher level, this higher level, and this higher level here. I think of all the points, probably Bryce Point is the most scenic of the points, it seemed like. this is a real good shot here because you could see all the hoodoos, you can see the snow there, and then the different the edges and all that. So that's a really good shot. I like that. You can see the mountain over here and then a valley down here, and it's all covered in snow. I bet that's all red if you didn't have the snow. Yeah, that's really scenic. I like that. Wow. We get another shot of Bryce Point walking down that sidewalk there, just trying to get the whole. So I think I was zoomed in over here. See that here? That's what we were just looking at right there. My camera zooms in really good. So here's a zoomed in shot. Zoomed in shot of that. Zoomed in, and then I get way back here now. And that's the view, the naked eye view. So you can see the trees and all the hoodoos and everything out there. Bryce Point. Along the sidewalk, you see the railing there that they've got. So the parking lot's over here. Then you got the sidewalk, then you got the railing. Okay, yeah, this is the end of that sidewalk because there were two crows. And yeah, I couldn't see too good, so I think I took a few pictures of the crows. Wow, I got really close up on that. Just two crows sitting on the snow. There's the crows again. Oh, wow, I got close up on that one. He turned his head. They had our back to us, but he turned his head. That was a good shot there. You can see a little snow on him there, on his beak. He was probably content, warm, because God gave him a good body for that climate. That's a good shot. Feathers, yeah, I couldn't see too good. Wow, that's really good. See that big valley with all the hoodoos and the snow, and then you also got the trees down there. That's really good, good variety there, and all the different levels, like going way back there. That's a good, 100 miles or a couple 100 miles out probably. Wow. Okay, now what? So Bryce Point, there was a point where you could walk out to it, and you could go out to this point, and that's where this fence is, and you could overlook it, overlook the valley. And that was probably the most scenic point of them all in that whole canyon. But you had to walk on all the snow. So my uncle walks out there with his clamp-ons, and then he gives them, after he's done, then he gave them to me, and I walked out there. My mom didn't try it. And I never used the clamp-ons before, so I was kind of scared because it was slippery. I mean, people that weren't walking out there with the clamp-ons, they were sliding. It was a lot of snow and ice, and it was a little steep. But walking with those clamp-ons, no problem whatsoever. I didn't slide at all. It was just my mind. I'd never done it before, so I'm thinking, oh no, I'm going to slide, but I didn't. So anyway, that's walking out there to Bryce Point with those clamp-ons. So yeah, there's all the hoodoos out there. You could see that railing there, and people holding onto the railing. But it was real scenic when you get out there. There were a lot of people out there, so I don't think I got too many shots on the very point. But, that almost looks like an arch. If you didn't have all that snow, that might be an arch. I don't know. But look at all those hoodoos. Wow. The hoodoos, the trees, the snow. That's really pretty. There's more snow there, I guess, because that was the highest point, 8,300 elevation. In fact, there are probably higher points on that other road that was closed with all the snow. This was the highest point we could get to in Bryce Canyon. Bryce Point. I think this is at the end there. I think where it goes out to that point, I think. So now I'm taking shots from that spot, I think. Wow. You know, every one of them. I mean, they look similar, but at the same time, they're all a little different. God makes a beautiful creation. This here is called the wall of windows. And since it's two-dimensional, you can't really see it too good. But this here is like a wall here of hoodoos. And here's a window right here. And here's a bigger window right here. And so they call this the wall of windows, one of the most iconic pictures at Bryce Canyon. And when we walked on the trail years ago without the snow, you could get really close to it. It was really neat to be that close to it, you know, and see it. But here I zoomed in on it a little bit. Here I zoomed in more. Yeah, it's hard to see through my viewfinder, but there it is. There's a hole there, and here a window. So wall of windows, a whole wall of hoodoos with two windows. Wall of windows. That's from Bryce Point. There, that might be a better shot there. You could see the whole wall there with the two windows. And wow, see, this is why it's so pretty. Bryce Point, you see all the trees, the hoodoos, the hills, you know, just a variety of stuff, the snow. That's just so beautiful. Look at that. Just, I mean, it goes for miles and miles of this stuff. That's why it was so beautiful. It's just way out there, you know, and all the variety and beauty. If it wasn't so cold, I'd probably stayed out there a lot longer. But yeah, so beautiful, so beautiful. Look at that. This is farther back, wall of windows still. There's one window. There's another window there. So you can still see wall of windows. I hope you could see this cursor. If you can't see this cursor, then my pointing things out isn't doing a bit of good. I guess we'll find out when I watch it. Again, another view from the Bryce Point. You can see the railing there. Wow. Look at all that snow. It looks like holes, like little caves here. Here's a cave, here's a cave, here's a cave. Different caves, it seems like there. Yeah. It's not the red color, but it's just different. All those different holes. Look at that. Wow. Wow, that's great. There, you can see the different levels. They look like little windows, you know, little hideouts. And you got all the snow there. Of course, it's real steep. You can't really get out there. But wow. Okay, that was it for Bryce. We only spent half a day there because you couldn't really walk on trails. Bryce Point was about the only part I walked out on, and that was only because we had those Rick had a pair of the clamp-ons. So then we went to Zion National Park that night, Tuesday afternoon, and we walked on. We had to take a shuttle because the scenic drive is so crowded. They don't let you drive the scenic drive. I think you can, like, from December to March 11th, but now we're what, March 28th. So we had the shuttle, and so we took the shuttle. They have different scenic points. We went to Scenic Point 5, and that was the Emerald Pools Trail, and that's the only trail that we hiked. Actually, we did that, and we did the Grotto Trail. We did those two trails on that Tuesday because that was we got there in the afternoon, so we didn't have a whole lot of time. You can see the sun's going down. But anyway, this is Zion National Park here. Taking pictures. This was, I believe, this was at that stop 5, the Emerald Pools Trail on the scenic drive. You can see a waterfall there. Huge, huge rocks. That's what Zion is famous for, these huge rocks. And I drove and took video. It's like you just point your camera skyward and you might not get the top of the rock. It's way up there. And there's a waterfall going right down the middle of those two rocks. There's the waterfall again. There you go. So you can see how long it is here. That's, I don't know, that might be 1,000 feet. I zoomed in. That might be 1,000 feet, that waterfall. I don't know. I'm not too good at judging that stuff. I know these rocks are huge. Now we are on the Emerald Pools Trail. I think we were before. And we got our first view of these two waterfalls. There's this rock. You'll see it later. There's this flat rock. And so there are different places where the snow is melting. And you've got these waterfalls. So there's two waterfalls together there. Again, the same thing there. I'm getting a little closer to it. We actually walk underneath. There's a person there, right there in that blue. So hopefully you can see the cursor. You can see the cursor. If you can't see the cursor, then this doesn't, my descriptions aren't that good. But hopefully you can see. Anyway, there's a trail that goes behind there. I called that the backside of water. You can see the backside of water there going underneath the waterfalls. What is that? I don't even know which way is up on that. I have no idea what that is. I probably took a picture accident. Okay, that's a good shot right there. Can I get up there? Can I rotate it? It's not letting me. There we go. Finally, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So I'm getting up close to it, and those are those two waterfalls that we saw close to each other there, coming down. And I'm sure they're coming down really good right now because of all the snowfall. So here you can see the trail here on the left. You see the railings and the people standing behind the railings. They're going behind. We haven't actually gone behind yet. We're on the side. And I was trying to show how you see the ice that forms, which is really weird. You got all this water falling down. You would think if the water hitting it would melt it, but I guess it's so cold that probably the water hits the rock, and the water is, because there's always water hitting the rock, then the water, when it freezes at night, freezes. And so then it creates ice. So I guess you get these ice layers that are on top of the rock as a result of the water hitting it and sticking to it. And then when it gets below freezing, then it freezes. That's what I'm thinking. And you can see the water there on the little bushes or plants there, little sticks there. So all that ice created as a result of all that water falling and hitting the bottom there. Wow, that's a good shot. The two waterfalls there coming down. We're on the side. Ooh, look at that. That is neat. Just the side there, those two waterfalls up close. Wow, look at that. The ice, that's at the bottom of the water. The ice that's formed. And this is the water falling, and this is the ice that's formed. That is weird. I never thought, it makes sense, but I never thought of it that would happen. It would just fall down in the water, and then the ice, it'd solidify, and the ice would go up. So the water comes down, the ice goes up in these columns. Okay, there's the side again of the water coming down. See, there's no snow up there, so that wasn't snow at the bottom, but it was just ice that formed. Now we're on the backside of water right there, ladies and gentlemen. Backside of water. And there's the backside of those two. Kind of hard to skip because you get the mist. I think that's what that is, drops on the camera maybe. Because you get this mist that's flying in your face with the wind when you're on the backside of it. And that's on the other side there. So I'm on the side of the waterfalls, but on the other side, having walked on the other side of the trail there. And there are some more waterfalls over there. So I think those are different. Anyway, these are the different waterfalls on the other side. There were two on one side, two on the other. You'll see that in a minute. And so then these are probably just sticks of branches or something. And then the water falling on that, and it's solidified into ice at the bottom of the waterfall. That's just weird to see that. So yeah, here now you can see. So here are the two that we saw first. So we were over here on the left side, and we came across, went underneath, of course, on the trail below. And now we're on the right side. And on the right side, there's a third waterfall. So there's two and a third. And when we come back, when we walk back, you're actually, because this is lower Emerald Pools. And then we're going to go to middle and upper emerald pools. And then you're going to see actually there's a fourth and fifth waterfall that's formed here. And the time that we leave and time and come back. So that was pretty neat. So there's 3 you can see, but there will be 5 when we come back. So here we are walking past those waterfalls, going up to the upper emerald. So you can see we've climbed now. You can see we're higher up here. And those are those 3 waterfalls. What a scene, you know, that rock there. We hiked down here below that and walked around and beneath it and on the other side. When we got to this point on the other side, actually below when we were over here, that's where my mom stopped and she waited for us till we walked to the upper part because it was just too uneven, the rocks and all that there. Look at how the water forms into ice in these little crevices. Here's a waterfall. So we're getting up to the upper emerald pools. They call it emerald pools. You don't really see it there. But when you first walk, there's a river and the river is green. So that's why they call it Emerald Pools Falls. At least I think that's why. And we're going to the upper, this is the upper falls. So this is a lot higher up than the lower ones. But we're far away, but we're going to get actually to the base of this. That was that last hike, and that was pretty rocky. So it took I think it was maybe 1.8, maybe 2 miles one way for this, and we come back. So it was a good walk. So there's the upper falls, but you know we didn't walk in Bryce Canyon that day, so it was good to get out and stretch our legs here. And again, another shot of the upper falls there. I mean, that sheer rock, it's crazy. I mean, Zion, that's what's so grand about Zion National Park is it's got these huge rocks, bigger than all the other parks. Capitol Reef had some huge ones, but this is even bigger. And I think Zion was named by the Mormons, so you got a lot of biblical names. And we'll get to that later. But there's a close-up of the falls. It's way above me. Wow, there's beautiful sights there. 4,000 feet elevation where I am, but then, you know, higher up there's some snow up there. Now we're getting closer. You can see we're climbing. We're getting closer to the upper falls. Now we're at the base of the falls. And again, this had even more ice, I guess because it's higher up. And look at how it just formed all this ice on these branches or these little bushes that are here. They're just all covered in ice now from the water hitting. That's the water coming down, and it hits down and it creates this ice, and the ice is getting higher and higher. I guess eventually with the spring coming, it'll start melting, but it's pretty high up right here. And then you've got all the little bushes here covered in ice from the mist of the falls, and it freezing. Wow, that's a great shot there. That's that upper falls. And all that ice. You can see the water just falling. It's like midair, you know, caught all the water in midair. Boy, that's great. And there's below there, you can see on the right side, the waterfall, and then that mound of ice that had built up over the winter. And then the ice that is formed from the mist from getting on these little bushes or little twigs or whatever they are. There's another shot now, the left side there, the other side. With the water and then the ice all around it. Wow, that's a good shot of the falls. That's that upper falls there. And since I'm under it, I got a good close-up of the top part of it. I don't think I could get the entire length, but that's about the best I could do. It's getting close to the bottom there. You can see it coming all the way down there. Wow, that's another good shot there. So there's the bottom part. So like you had here is the top part. And then here's where it spreads out when it gets toward the bottom. And then here's that spreading out part of that water hidden. All that water, it's almost like it's freezing in midair, I guess, because, usually water is flowing better, but because it's so cold. When I say it's cold, Zion was a lot warmer. It may have actually cracked 50 for the first time on our trip. We're actually probably up to 50 degrees by now. But it's still, it's still cold. This is toward the heat of the day right here. Probably about 5 p.m. Okay, here I come back now, and you can see it was 3 waterfalls before. on the lower falls, but now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like 4 waterfalls. Okay, this is going back that day. I think I took a picture from the shuttle. This was considered, I think, this is considered the court of the patriarchs. This one on the left is called Abraham. This is called Isaac. This one you think is called Jacob, but really they decided to call this Mount Moroni. Moroni is the famous angel that delivered the golden plates to Joseph Smith to interpret the book of, to write down the Book of Mormon. So that, this is Mormon country. So Zion Park, and everybody thinks this is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I thought that's what it was when I took the picture. A Methodist minister apparently named these peaks in 1916, but when you look at the picture, this is called Mount Moroni, and the one behind it is Jacob. And I'll get that before the trip is over. I'll get a picture of all that. But I know the Methodist minister did not call this Mount Moroni. I guarantee he called this Jacob. And then the Mormons came along later on and says, "Oh, well, this is the famous angel Moroni who delivered the golden plates to Joseph Smith to give the Holy Scriptures to us here in America from Jesus' visit to the Americas back 400, 500s. And so we've got to recognize the angel Moroni who did this miraculous thing for Joseph Smith to give us our inspired scriptures." Isn't it interesting? Moroni, M-O-R-O-N-I, M-O-R-O-N is moron. Mormon, M-O-R-M-O-N. So the Book of Mormon adds an M to moron. Moroni adds an I to moron. Sounds like a bunch of morons. Anyway, there is Abraham, Isaac, and probably Jacob. We're calling it Mount Moroni in the picture. All right, here's another photo there. Some beautiful formations in Zion. Probably getting these, I think. Yeah, okay, now I know what this is. Okay. Okay, so this was Tuesday night. Then we go back to the hotel. We stay in St. George, Utah, elevation 2,000 feet there. Zion is 4,000 feet at the base. It actually was 70 degrees in St. George. That was the high for the whole trip. So then the next day, Wednesday, we come back and we spend all day in Zion on Wednesday, March 29th. And this is Tuesday and this is Wednesday. We now took a shuttle to the very end of the scenic road. They call it the Temple of Suwarani or something. Anyway, it's not an actual temple. It's just a whole bunch of beautiful, large rock formations. So these are the rock formations around there. And there is a little rest station. You can use the bathroom. And then they also have something. And the church I grew up in, Church of God of Prophecy, we practiced communion or Lord's Supper and feet washing. Well, this is the first time I've ever seen a foot wash station. So apparently they practice feet washing in Zion, except of course we washed each other's feet. You get some water. We actually didn't use any soap. We just used water. You just put water over the person's bare feet. And that's what we did. But anyway, here, I guess it's because I think what it is this right here at the, and the reason we went to this Temple of Suwarani or whatever it's called, is this is the gateway to the Narrows. There is a 2-mile trail called Riverside Walk that we will go on right after this place here. And when you get to the end of the 2 miles, then you're in the Narrows. But we only got about 0.6 miles in because the water flow is so great from the snow melt, from those mountains being so high and everything, that you have to walk in the river. So to even get to the other 1.5 miles to get to where the Narrows begin, you really have to have these, special gear to walk out there. And you're walking in river for 1.5 miles just to get out there. And of course, we had a whole lot of other things we wanted to see in Zion. So we just did the 0.6 miles. We went as far as we could go without getting wet, walking in a river. But anyway, this is at the beginning of the trail. They probably have this foot wash station for people after they've been through the Narrows. That's what I'm thinking. And here it is. This is the foot wash station. We never had anything like that in Church of God of Prophecy, but I just had to get a picture since we had feet washing in our church. Foot wash station right here. So Church of God of Prophecy, eat your heart out. We got an official one here in Zion National Park. Okay, so this is walking down Riverside Walk. We went, like I said, 0.6 miles. This was in the morning, about 8 or 9 in the morning. It was very cold. Well, I should say. It was probably about 46. It was supposed to, or 40. It was supposed to get up to 62 that day. And so I didn't dress warmly. Well, I mean, I wore 2 sweaters, but I didn't wear a jacket. And so it was pretty cold on this walk. But after, when we got back, it was warm after that because it had warmed up quite a bit. The sun really hadn't got in there because you got these huge rocks, so it's shady a lot during the day. So I think that's a waterfall, I think. Anyway, rocks, the huge rocks we're seeing in that Temple of Saroni or whatever it is. And it's by that river. We're on the Riverside Walk. We went 0.6 miles and then 0.6 to the river and then 0.6 miles back. This looks like some ice that had melted there. I mean, not ice, ice that had formed there from snowfall, probably, I'm thinking. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to get there, in the middle. All right, what is this? I think it's the same thing. It's just ice that had formed from snowfall on the side of the rock. Yeah. There. Yeah, it's just interesting. There's some ice. That formed. Yeah. Look at that. So you got the water there, but here's a little hole. So this ice formed right here in this hole, right here, and some ice formed up there. It's just neat to see. Yeah, there I got a picture of the hole. That right there is this here. That there, and I got a close up of it. Huge rock and above us. So then there's the picture of just that water trickle down. There's just enough level there where it can form some icicles there. Pretty neat. Pretty neat how it forms that sort of oval shape too. So that was good. And yeah, here's up higher. So that first picture, this one, that's this part here, the higher up part. I'm zooming in on that here. So you can see the ice there. Again, a little ledge, just enough for when the water flows down for it to form ice down there. And then that's the top part there above that ice there, and you can see the water that's flowed down there. Or it's still flowing down, actually. You can see it flowing down. Not that big of a hole, not that big of a waterfall. And so anyway, there's some rocks that we saw there. I think this is down by where we stopped the river there, the 0.6 miles, I think. Some views I got there. I was trying to see if there was a way I could cross that river, but then, and maybe I could have crossed the river and not got too wet, but then once you do, you're just going to be walking in the river after that. So what's the point, So I just went back. Close-up shot of what you see down the river. I think this is looking back down the river, and these are the rocks up here, and then I just got a closer shot of that up there. Yeah, it's just beautiful. These huge rocks. There again is that water that had flowed down. Yeah, here's the going back now, I think. You can see we're closer. The river is actually to the right of this shot, but then there's like a dry creek bed over here, I think. I think that's what that is. No, and I take that back. The water is here on the bottom. We're not at the dry creek bed. So this is probably right where we turned around. But just beautiful to see those rocks in the snow. I'm sure it'd be great out there in those Narrows, but it just wasn't the time of year to do that. There's a lot of stuff. See, you see the water there, the river. There's a lot of stuff in all these national parks. I mean, you could spend a week or two in each of these national parks by themselves. So just getting one day in each, we just had to hit the highlights. So that's what we did. Again, why we did not try to rent things and walk down the water, because we have plenty of other stuff to look at that we could get to easily. Yeah, so beautiful. There's some waterfalls there. There's again a picture of it. Just a different waterfall. Again, you can see that stupid thing comes up. There, water settling here at this sort of level area, so it just ends up forming ice, and you get a little ice mound from the waterfall there. There's another picture of it there. And another picture of it there. And yet another picture of it. Yes, yes. This is farther away. You see this in a lot of places, just these little trickles of water. Not some huge waterfall, just little trickles coming down from the snow melt. Which I remember when my uncle and I went years ago in the summer, we never saw that because snow had all melted by then. We can see little water coming down here, then over here, then down here. So it makes its way down off of these huge mountains. Now here's a bigger waterfall. I think now we've left that temple, we've left the Riverside Walk, and now we're on the next trail, which is Weeping Rock. This isn't Weeping Rock, but this is going up to Weeping Rock, and it's a little waterfall there going up to Weeping Rock. I think that's what it is. Anyway, it's very scenic. Whatever it is, it's very scenic. Yeah, look at that, mountains, the snow up there, higher elevations. Wow, look at that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the falls going up to the Weeping Rock. Weeping Rock was just maybe half a mile, not even that. I think it was a quarter of a mile, and it was paved. It was, kind of a little bit tricky in spots, but my mom made it. She made that whole walk. She made all the Riverside Walk too, by the way, because that was mostly paved too. That was a good trail. Boy, look at that, just that waterfall close to Weeping Rock. Well, you'll see Weeping Rock soon, and you'll see this is not it, but it's on the Weeping Rock Trail. Here's Weeping Rock. You can't really see it too good, but this is side, and then up here at the top, the rock sort of comes out. And so at the top there, there's trickles of water coming all across there. I don't know. It's kind of hard to get it because it's not a huge amount of water. That's why they don't call it a waterfall. They call it Weeping Rock. Weeping is it's like little tears. So anyway, there's my uncle, and he's up there higher than we are, up there on the trail, and really underneath Weeping Rock. But it's so big, it's hard to, you don't really see the tears because that's above this picture. So there he is there. There he is again. And this is this waterfall again. You'll see Weeping Rock better at some point, I think. But that's that waterfall there at Weeping Rock. And here is at the bottom of the waterfall, just like at the bottom of all these falls, it seems like. But here was this tree with these branches and all these icicles, all this tremendous amount of ice. And just from that little waterfall that had probably built up over the last 3 months or so when it's been cold enough. Look at all that ice. Just from the mist of the waterfall, and it just forms these huge ice sheets hanging off of these limbs out there. Crazy. Yeah, here's a close-up. That was a close-up of this limb here, this big limb. So there's a close-up of it. And you can see the tree is bent over. It's probably bent over because it's got all these weight on the branches from all this ice on there. Crazy. This is a view from the Weeping Rock area. Just beautiful, beautiful mountains, beautiful rocks. Utah is a real rocky place. I know they call Colorado the Rocky Mountains, but I tell you, everywhere we went in Utah, it seemed like we saw a bunch of rocks. There's that waterfall again from a different angle. And there's right beneath the waterfall, that big branches there, all that. Look at all that ice. I mean, you're talking about, I don't know, going up like 10 feet of ice. It's just been accumulating. This is probably the most it is. It's right like at the end of winter here, early spring, and with all the rainfall, snowfall they've had, rainfall. This is probably the biggest it ever gets, or close to it. Maybe it'll keep going. I'm sure the waterfalls will keep going. They'll be bigger in the spring and April and May, but then the weather gets warmer, and so then this ice is going to start melting, I would think. So this may be the biggest chunk of concentration of ice that you get at this waterfall. I don't know. That would be my guess. But yeah, you see the whole thing. Here's the waterfall, and just the mist there, creating all this ice, and over here, just huge area of ice. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Like an ice field just from this waterfall. Constant flow of water. Okay, here is again the waterfall, trying to show the whole thing, but not really. Because I can't get to the top, and I also can't get to the bottom on this. That's pretty close. Pretty close. There we go again. Side there of the waterfall. Yeah, I guess it's because it's so cold that it doesn't look like a sheet of water. It's sort of clumped together, maybe. It's weird. You would think a spread, it doesn't look like your average waterfall. It's like set, like here's a waterfall, here's a waterfall, here's a waterfall. It's weird. It's like the water concentrates in different areas, probably just based on the angle of the rock or something. Crazy. And here it is again. That's what I'm trying to show. Well, delete this file. I don't want to delete. I hit the wrong button. There we go. Yeah, look at that waterfall. Isn't that crazy? Never seen it like that. It probably has to do with the crevice of the rocks and the mountain, and then how cold it is, I guess. That's a waterfall. Can you believe it? Looks like a sheet, like a thin sheet. And there's that ice again. I just was dumbfounded by that. I had to take more pictures of it. Look at that close up. You're looking at like 10 feet high of ice, and all these icicles that have formed just from this waterfall over the last 3 months. It'd be interesting if you could take pictures of it, like a time lapse thing, and go pictures of it, say in like December, and then go into January and February, March. That would be really good. I wonder if the people in Zion have done that. That'd be really cool to see that time lapse stuff. But anyway, that's what we had on March 29th, Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. Yeah, icicles forming off of the ice sheets on that right-hand side, and on the left too. Crazy. Okay, who knows what I took there? Probably accidentally snapped something. Okay, here's Weeping Rock. So that was that rock when I had Rick, and you can see the rock behind him. Well, above him, this is what you see. And it's like a whole level thing up here. Not quite level, but you see there's a weeping here. It's like all these different along the level there. It's just little trickles of water. And I guess it's like that throughout the year, I think. And so they call that Weeping Rock. There you go. Oh, that's a pretty good shot. Wow, you can see all the individual droplets. That's cool. That is really cool. That might be another good screensaver there. Wow. Of course, you got to know what it is. But yeah, that's a rock and water falling off the rocks. Individual droplets. That is so cool. And again, there you go. It's sort of hard to take pictures of it too, because like the water's falling on you as you're taking the picture. Okay, here's that rock again. So like Rick was standing, here's the railing at the very bottom, and you can see people down here. And then here's the whole sheet of the rock, and at the top there, that's where that water is falling down from. So I was trying to show the whole thing, but I'm at an angle because I'm walking down from it. So it's kind of hard to see. And again, here's that waterfall I got initially. And so now we're probably done with Weeping Rock Trail. So what did we do after that? Okay, we went to stop 6. Oh, that's when we went on, it's called West Rim Trail. The most famous trail in Zion is called Angel's Landing. It is about 1,100-foot elevation gate. Well, first, Angel's Landing, you have to have a permit to hike. The only trail in Zion that you have to have a permit to hike. But the first 2 miles of it is 1,100-foot elevation gain, and you walk 2 miles, and it's called the West Rim Trail. That part, you do not have to have a permit. Then once you get to the top of West Rim Trail, then there's this other rock, and it's called Angel's Landing, and you walk half a mile. Now, Lana and I did that 10 years ago, actually, March of 2013. And that is the scariest thing I've ever done. I got to the top of it, but it was scary. They have, when you're walking on that, it's like you're walking, half of your foot is on the side of this rock, and you've got chains, and you hold onto the chains. And so it's like you don't really have a level place to put your whole foot, and you don't even have your whole foot on the rock. It's almost like rock climbing, but you've got these chains to hold on to. Man, I had a death grip on those chains, and you keep walking on the side of this rock, holding on to these chains until you get to the top, and it's a half a mile. Probably maybe a quarter of a mile of it is that, and it takes you like 45 minutes to do that quarter mile because you just have to take it so slow because it's just like walking on the side of a rock with those chains. And I did it, and the view there was not, they said, oh, the view is so great. That view wasn't great. Maybe it's because I was so scared when I was up there. I didn't really notice it. I came down, and I was so glad to get down on the ground. I felt like that was the stupidest thing I've ever done, and I would never do it again. So we got all the great views on the West Rim Trail, climbing up 1,100 feet, going 2 miles, and then didn't bother. You need the permit for Angel's Landing. I don't want to do that again. That's stupid. So I didn't do it. So, but my mom had difficulty because, I mean, we're high elevation. She's 83 years old, but she just kept at it. She kept at it. She would go a switchback, stop, rest, go another switchback, stop, rest. It took a while, but she made it to the top of the West Rim Trail. All 3 of us, my mom, myself, and my uncle. It wasn't uneven, you know, it was a good trail. It was just steep. So coming down, you had to take it slow. You had to take it slow going up because you're out of breath climbing 1,100 feet elevation, and you got to take it slow coming down so you don't slide down the rock. So it took a while, but we made it. So this is the beginning of West Rim Trail, which is 2 miles up, 2 miles down, and the whole thing, Angel's Landing. If you do the Angel's Landing, the whole thing, I think, is 5.4 miles total. But we did 4 miles, 2 miles up, 1,100 foot elevation gain, 2 miles down. Beautiful views, great walk. A lot of people on there, but anyway, West Rim Trail. So that's what you're looking at now. It's at stop 6. It's the Grotto stop 6 bus stop on the Zion National Park bus, on the scenic bus, shuttle bus stop 6 on the what is it called, Scenic Drive in Zion. We get there, and there is a porcupine way up in this tree. I don't know how anybody saw it. I zoomed in. This is zoomed in as far as I could go, and I took video, but I also took some pictures of this porcupine. They said it was a rare thing. They had rangers out there taking video and pictures. Porcupines apparently are nocturnal, so they get food at night. But this porcupine was confused. It was about 11 a.m. when we saw this. This was at the start of West Rim Trail, and so that's a porcupine way up in this tree, eating food. And when you see the video, it'll be better. But that's a porcupine, so that was pretty neat. Okay, now we're back on the trail again. Just beautiful sights. You keep climbing, so you see more snow. It gets colder. It was pretty warm when we started. It was very cold when we got to the top because we climbed all that elevation, and there's a lot more wind at the top too. People kept warning me, oh, better watch out, your hat may blow off. In fact, there was this boy, probably about like 12 years old. He said he lost his hat up there, but I've got a clip. I clipped the hat to my shirt, so it was no problem. I was taking pictures of my mom. She was tired on a switchback. Can't blame her for that. Here's a picture of her by a little cactus I found there, taking a breather, trying to catch her breath. Beautiful sheer rocks looking at the top, and we're going to be up there before you know it. A lot of switchbacks. Look at these mountains. Gorgeous, gorgeous mountains. There's the road beneath there at the very bottom there in the middle of the picture there. That's the road that you take. Well, actually, the bus takes there. So you can see how high up we are. We've hiked up from that road up to this point by now. And we're, of course, not at the top. Here, again, here's the road. You can see it a lot better in this photo. There's another good shot there at a switchback. My mom taking a breather by this rock. I try to find a switchback where you had a rock where you could lean against. It's not like they have recliners up there. Usually you couldn't find a place to sit. But if you find a rock to lean against, that would be good. Catch your breath and rest your muscles, leg muscles a little bit by leaning against the rock. So that's what she's doing there. You can see a lot of people on this trail. So there's some more people resting. That group we saw a lot, actually. They were going about the same pace as we did. They were a little higher up. Beautiful shot right there. One of the switchbacks, my mom right there, right in the middle with these snow-capped mountains. That's another good screensaver right there. That's a beautiful shot. Oh, another great one right there. Her close up. And the mountains. Yeah, that's another good shot of her. I like that. That's great. You can see the wind. See her hair blowing a little bit under her toboggan. So it's windy. It's getting cold. Okay, there's another shot from the West Rim Trail there, Zion. Another great shot there. We're probably about a mile and a half up. We'll probably have about a half a mile to go at this point. We're getting pretty close, I think. There she is. There's my mom walking on the trail. She'd like to walk behind me a lot, but if she'd walk in front of me, I'd sneak a picture in there. There she is on the trail. Just beautiful sights there. There's a rock. I mean, again, you'd think that would fall off, but it's solid rock, Been like that for a long time. Who knows how long? Yeah, here you can see a little snow here, or ice maybe that's melted. A little tree there and a rock. Just a beautiful picture. You can see the higher up we go, more snow. Back when we get toward the top, there are areas of the trail that have ice on it, but it's not sheer across. So what you can do is you can see the ice and just walk around it. So that was good. I'm sure if you'd been up there at least a few weeks before, it would have been worse. This is an area. It's called Walters Wiggles. I think they call it 21 switchbacks within like a quarter of a mile or maybe half a mile, if that. It's just back and forth, back and forth. So here's a switchback, here's a switchback. So one here, one that we're on. I could tell because there's a pipe there and they're trying to drain the water down. So it's just all these switchbacks, and they're called Walters Wiggles because he's wiggling back and forth to get up this rock. Very steep as well. We had to take it very slow coming back down. And the lighting wasn't good on that one. I'm surprised by how good all these pictures have come out. Look at that shot. Wow. Beautiful snow on the mountains, man. God makes some beautiful creation. And he changes it all the time, You go here in July, it won't look like this, You won't have the snow up there. You'll probably have more leaves on these trees. And so it's just, God made a beautiful creation. There's my mom going up one of those Walters Wiggles there. I think she's at the very end there almost. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this here is the Angel's Landing, and they got the chains over there. I don't think I ever got close enough to take a good shot of the chains because you got to have a permit to walk out there. So we're getting close to the top where as far as we could go. You can see people going out there. You got to have a permit to go to that area. I don't know. They got park rangers. I don't know if they'd fine you or I doubt they'd put you in jail, but they'd probably fine you. So here we are. My Uncle Rick, my mom, we both made it to the top. West Rim Trail. It says Angel's Landing, 0.5 miles. The West Rim Trail keeps going. The West Rim Springs is 3 miles up that way. But this is where we stopped. I mean, 2 miles and 1,100 feet elevation gain. We're probably at like 5,500, maybe even 6,000 feet at this point. That was enough. It took a while to get up there, and it took a while to get back down. Down this road here is Angel's Landing. These people are up higher up the West Rim, going up the West Rim Springs, and this is Angel's Landing on the right. But anyway, we stopped here. My mom's got her camera. We brought granola bars, and we ate, set on these rocks actually down here below. And there was a chipmunk. I think I took video. I didn't get snapshot. There was a chipmunk that actually, my mom's sitting down on the rock, and this chipmunk, because she's got a granola bar in her hand, the chipmunk knows it's food. And a chipmunk actually got on her jacket as she's sitting down there, got right on her leg there while she's eating a granola bar. Chipmunks got real close. There are 2 chipmunks, and they got real close to us. So that was neat. But they moved so fast I didn't really get good video. So anyway, that was it. West Rim Trail. This is again the 3 patriarchs, I think. I think we're coming down the trail, West Rim Trail here, I think. Oh, no, that was it. Okay. So this is, so that was West Rim Trail. We got to the top. I didn't take any pictures going down. I think I took some video, but I didn't take any pictures going down. Then we took the bus, the shuttle bus, back to stop 4, which is Court of the Patriarchs. And this is Abraham, Isaac. You'd think this is Jacob. Oh, no, this is Mount Moriah. But so we're going to see that later. So then we got off the stop, went across the street, walked up, and on a little trail to get a good view, because you got to get away from all these twigs and these. They're not twigs; they're full-blown trees, is what they are. So now I'm getting higher up. You can see, so you can see these better. And now I'm trying to take pictures because you can't get them all in one shot. So there, the 3 again. I'm above now. Abraham, Isaac. I would call this Jacob. They call it Mount Moriah. And just another shot. So here is what I'm talking about. So on the left is Abraham Peak, it says. It's like 6,280 feet, I think. Then you've got Isaac Peak is here. It's like 6,250. And then they call this Mount Moriah. That's that 3rd one. So when I took pictures, I'm taking of these 3 here. But now they're saying this one in the back is Jacob Peak, and that's like 6,210 feet. So I guess they're calling it that because it's similar in peak size or elevation to Abraham and Isaac, I guess. And Mount Moriah is lower. It's maybe like 5,500 maybe. But the thing is, it's in front of the Jacob's Peak. So that's why it looks like it's in front of the Abraham and Isaac. So that's why it looks like it's about the same. Because when you look at these pictures here, they look like they're all in a row and they're all about the same height. You can tell this one's a little lower. But really, this one is in front of the other 2. The one on the right here, Mount Moriah, is in front of the other 2. So I think everybody, unless you get to this point and really look at it, study it, everybody who's actually hiking out here or looking at it, I should say, everybody's thinking Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. That's just what it is. But according to the picture here, Abraham, Isaac, this is Mount Moriah, and Jacob is behind Mount Moriah, and it's higher. So I think when this talks about the Methodist pastor, preacher in 1916, and he named these Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I think this one he named Jacob. And that the Mormons came along later and said, oh, no, that's Mount Moroni. I called it Moriah. No, it's called Mount Moroni. That's Mount Moroni over the famous Moroni angel who gave the golden plates to Joseph Smith, who translated the book, made the Book of Mormon. Oliver Cromwell was involved in that anyway, but that don't matter. Who cares about that? So I think this Methodist preacher came along and said Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then the Mormons came along and says, no, that's the angel Moroni, Mount Moroni, and Jacob's really back to it. Again, I don't know, but that's what I think. I guarantee you that Even if this Methodist preacher did say Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he did not call this Mount Moroni. As Moroni is a Mormon angel, not in the Bible. There's no way a Methodist preacher called this Mount Moroni. No way. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I think that's what he did. Anyway, so that's the picture to show that. And this is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I think. But they're saying this is Mount Moroni and this one. And I just got a little bit of it here on the right. That's really Jacob. That's what they're saying. There, I got it better. Now you can see Jacob a little better. I'm trying to get all four so you can see it. And that's about the best I did, I think. Okay, that was it for Zion. So that was Wednesday, March 29th, March 29th. And so then we drive back to Henderson, Nevada. So we're driving from Zion, which is here, down to Henderson, Nevada. That's about a 2-hour drive. And we hadn't eaten all day, so we ended up eating, chowing down at Culver's. We ate at a Culver's in St. George. That's what we did. St. George is about a 30-minute drive south of Zion. We ate at Culver's, and boy, I ate a chopped steak, broccoli, potatoes, bread. I got chocolate custard with peanut butter cups. I usually don't eat all that, but I was starving. I mean, we hiked all that hiking, and we didn't eat anything since breakfast except those granola bars. So I was starving. So anyway, 30-minute drive from Zion to St. George. We ate, and then we drove from St. George down to Henderson, Nevada. Spent the night there. And then 2:30 in the morning, got up and took a flight out of Vegas and flew cross country and got to Pensacola that Thursday, March 30th, that night about 5:30 p.m. Left 6 a.m. Vegas, got to Pensacola 5:30 p.m. Lost 2 hours in. So, but anyway, driving down, there was a storm. It was raining. So for the first time in the whole week, except for those snow flurries that we got in Canyonland that didn't melt, I meant that melted, didn't stick to the ground. The first time we got a storm, and it rained pretty good. But when we got to Vegas, it had stopped raining. So when we're driving down and it was raining, these are some cool photos, I think. Sunset. It looked a lot better in person, but this is, you can see the rain on the windshield there. And anyway, I'm trying to get the sunset. We had these dark clouds and the sunset there and a beautiful blue sky in there, but you don't really see the blue sky in the photo. So this is me attempting to get some good sunset photos during the rain. And while I'm driving on the freeway. So yeah, there you can see the clouds a little better. The sun's going down. Yeah. And that's about it. There's backed up a little bit there. You can see the blue sky a little better there and the dark clouds above. So that's, anyway, that's kind of neat. There we go. Got the, you can see the clouds a little better, a little brighter there. So anyway, I'm just snapping photos while I'm going down. That sky, that looks better with the clouds there. And that's it. That's all 774 photos. I don't know how long that took. That took a long time, I think. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me stop the share. Here I am again. Thank you for watching this very long video. This was the entire week. I hope you enjoyed it. And bye for now.